This is Winnipeg Sports Talk Daily with Andrew Hustler Paterson and Michael Remis.
What is up, everybody? Happy Friday. Welcome to Winnipeg Sports Talk Daily. Andrew Paterson, Michael Remis with you. We have a lot to get to today. Big night in the Stanley Cup playoffs last night. 3 big games coming up this evening, which we will touch on. And the Moose have their backs against the wall. Tonight, 7 p.m., Canada Life Center, Moose and Milwaukee. Can the Moose get to a deciding Game 3 on Sunday afternoon at home? We will find out tonight. We'll talk about it with the number one guy on the Moose beat, 24/7, 365, our pal Dave Minuk from Illegal Curve. We'll also have Ken Wiebe jump on the program, and I'm just going to give a viewer and listener warning. If you hate Philly, you may have to mute yourself because Brandon Rewucki is going to come in, and I'm sure he's going to be coming in hot after what the Flyers have done to the Penguins so far in the playoffs. Brandon will jump on as well. Last night was round 1 of the NFL draft, and we will get to that with Lee Hacksaw Hamilton a little bit later on in the program. But as expected, to the surprise of absolutely nobody, Fernando Mendoza is the new franchise quarterback for the Las Vegas Raiders. And plenty of other interesting moves, though. Chiefs traded up to get a corner at number 6. Big night for the New York team. So we'll touch on all of that coming up with Lee a little bit later on in the program. But lots of hockey talk, both NHL, and we'll focus in on the Moose a little bit later on. Just before we bring in Michael Remis, shout out to everyone listening on the podcast and all of you that are with us in the YouTube chat. Hit that thumbs up button and make sure you're subscribed to the channel. And a big thanks to all of our wonderful sponsors who make WST happen each and every day. Of course, our partners at Coolbet Canada, Princess Auto, Chud's Power Sports, Clean Line Plumbing, Heating, and Electrical, as well as Little Brown Jug, Boston Pizza, Royal Sports, Breezy Bend and Aikens Lake, Manitoba Battery, the Tri-Hospital Lottery. Get your tickets now, trihospitaldream.com, St. Vital Dental Center, Rowley's Transfer, Uptown Alley, the Manitoba Building Trades, and the Manitoba Federation of Labor. And, of course, we'll get to a why not question of the day for Not Autocorp at Waverly and McGillivray. Michael Remis, what's going on?
Yeah, enjoying this weather here, although maybe we'll get some snow, but also enjoying the Stanley Cup playoffs. 2 series yesterday, going up 3-0. Not really that close there for Carolina and Colorado, but hey, it's been fun. I've been watching, and Moose playoffs continue this evening.
Are you going to grace us with your presence today on the show?
Yeah, I'm just troubleshooting something. Don't worry about it. Don't. What's the line? Don't worry about that.
Yeah. You give me an Arnie to Marat. Last night in the league, we'll start it off with the Ottawa Senators, who are now down 3-0. And to be honest, they came out of Carolina thinking that, man, they maybe should have had a better fate. But last night, they had their chances, and they just could not make it happen. Did you see their 5-on-3 power play for a minute and a half, Reem?
I did see that go on. I don't know what Brady Tkachuk was doing, who he's trying to pass the puck to, but they couldn't get set up. They're passing to no one. It was pretty ugly for a team that, we thought had a chance to upset, and the number was wrong, but they're really getting dominated here.
Listen, the games have been close.
That's true. That overtime was it could have gone either way.
But honest to God, in games where the margin is so close. You have to be good on special teams. And 5-on-3s don't come around very often. And I'm not kidding, dude. I think you could go through and watch the tape of the entire season from game number 1 in October, and I doubt you will see a team mangle a 5-on-3 opportunity worse than the Senators did last night. That was atrocious. I mean, they cleared the puck out themselves twice on a 5-on-3. And then, yeah, you mentioned right towards the end, Brady Tkachuk got the puck back, passed it to no one outside of the zone. And I mean, those chances, believe in momentum as much as you want. But I don't think there's any way you can deny that when you have those high leverage points in the game, like a 5-on-3 power play, if you don't score, it gives the other team a boost. But if you can't do anything with a 5-on-3 advantage, I mean, it really feels like you are, getting a couple flat tires on the highway right now. And I thought that was the crucial part of that entire game. And then even when they had the goalie pulled in the last 2.5 minutes of the game, they weren't even able to set up. Now, credit where credit is due. The Carolina forecheck is just so excellent. I mean, they are on you. Ottawa players, and maybe they're just shook because they basically have no time or space with the puck at any moments, that even when they kind of do, by definition, on the power play or with an extra man out, they haven't been able to do anything. But I just thought that was so pivotal in the game last night. And I mean, realistically, maybe they can get a win in game 4, but it is going to be it's going to be it. And, and again, I don't want to bring this back to poor Jet runs in the playoffs before, but I was just thinking about Ottawa, and this reminds me of the Vegas series a few years back, where you go into your team playing and you just hope that you can win so you are spared the indignity of being the first team eliminated of 16 in the playoffs.
I think a lot of questions being asked about the group of players that Ottawa has. Are they good enough to get it done in the playoffs? Brady Tkachuk, 0 points, spotted slamming the bench, or the gate on the bench. Is that the actions of a guy with the C on his jersey? So Ottawa, very tough for them. It's kind of funny, Huss. I do this too. Like every series right now, you just say, oh, this is kind of like the Jets playoff series when they played, Team X, and they were in this situation. That's just, I guess that's how it is when the Jets aren't in and you're thinking of other past playoff memories. Even though they're not in, and they had other ones where they got swept, it was nice to be part of the dance, that elite group of teams that are in the postseason. And here we are on the outside looking in, hitting tankathon every day, praying for a lottery win on the simulator.
Yeah, we'll have to do that before the marbles today. We haven't done that this week, but we're less than 2 weeks away from the draft lottery, May 5th, Cinco de Mayo. We'll have to get some margaritas up and do a special stream for that show. Bingo Bango 13. Huss, your Chiefs stole that pick last night from my Saints. Great pick. I mean, hey, they had to trade up to get him. Hopefully he is good, Bingo Bango. Yeah, we will get into the draft with Hacksaw a little bit later on. So the Sens are on the verge of elimination, and I said it's sort of reminded of that Vegas series a few years back. The Kings Avalanche series is not quite reminiscent of the Jets Avalanche series of a couple years ago, Reem, in that the games have been tighter, but man, they have been boring. Like, I will admit, and I'm really hoping this is a sweep. Not that I want less hockey, but I don't think that any of us need any more of the LA Kings. And at least if they do go out on home ice in Game 4, Anze Kopitar will finish his Hall of Fame career in front of the home fans in LA, can do a final lap or whatever he wants afterwards, and then walk out into retirement and straight to the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, what a legend. Ante Kopitar, 2 Stanley Cups, big international play for Slovenia, carried that team in their tournaments. But the LA Kings, they were the worst, playoff team. They won a lot of games in overtime. You got a lot of loser points, goal differential, not great. They're hanging in there with Colorado for some of these games, but Colorado is that good that they're able to pull it out. Colorado had control yesterday, and LA makes it close at the end. But Colorado, what are they, minus 500 favorite, and looking like we're on our way to a sweep. And what a send off it would be for number 11 on the LA Kings, Ante Kopitar. What a legend. Has somehow, I think, even a bit underrated. I feel like he doesn't get spoken like Taves or Bergeron, maybe because he's playing in LA, or nationality, Slovenia. You're not playing those big international tournaments with them, but I mean, what a legend here. 20-year career. It's incredible.
Well, we'll always remember him starring for Paul Maurice's Team Europe.
Yes.
At the World Cup of Hockey in 2016. Part of that upstart group that did they make it to the final?
Yeah, I actually liked Team Europe. I thought Team Europe was great. I didn't like how they split up. I thought USA kind of got screwed. A lot of their best players were on Team North America.
Yeah, Team North America. But just killed Canada and USA.
The idea of Team Europe was great. So yeah, give Kopitar a shot. And they made the final. How amazing would it have been if they could have taken that down?
Anyways, big Kopitar fans here. He's probably got one more game left in him in his NHL career. And as we've been saying for a while, that will be big for Colorado. They can get out of this series quick, unscathed, get a week of rest and practice while Minnesota and Dallas beat the hell out of each other. That'll put them in a really, really good position moving forward. The other game last night, which was the game that I was locked into the most, was Buffalo-Boston, a raucous TD Garden welcoming back the Sabres and Bruins. The Bruins getting the split in the first 2 games. And how about that? The Sabres doing the job right back to them. But you know what was surprising, I think, to some people, because we didn't really hear that mentioned during the day, was the decision by Lindy Ruff to start Alex Lyon. And I got to tell you, Reem, I thought that was a brilliant move by Lindy. Now, first of all, it's important to note that UPL and Lyon played about the same amount. Like, this wasn't a Hellebuck-Comrie situation. They both went on runs. They both played a lot. But it really was UPL down the stretch and UPL getting the Game 1 win and UPL letting in one of the worst goals you've ever seen in your life in Game 2, which was a big, big part of Boston, getting it to 1-1. Alex Lyon was awesome last night, and he gave them the opportunity to stay in that game and come in it. And I think it was a win-win situation, because if they ended up losing the game, at least you give UPL a day off to get right, get a little bit of rest. He played a lot of hockey down the road, and you throw him back in a Game 4 if you're down 2-1. Now all of a sudden you have a guy that I think played better than the predecessor in the first 2 games, and you can roll with Lyon, and you've got a guy that you also trust to go back to. So shrewd move by Lindy Ruff. It paid off, and what a big win for Buffalo to regain home ice advantage with another opportunity in Boston before it even gets back to Buffalo for Game 5.
It's funny, teams in the regular season rotate goalies all the time. You saw Buffalo do this. Sometimes UPL would get a run, then Lyon. UPL, very clearly a rough game for him in Game 2. So why not go to Lyon? You don't have to go and annoying a guy, number one. You can go back and forth, although fans of the Winnipeg Jets in the playoffs against that Oilers series may feel differently when I sorry to bring that up.
Bob Murdoch.
Yeah, sorry to bring that up, but goalies need to get a rest here and there, and it is a long playoffs. It is a grind. So Alex Lyon, he's carried the mail before for the Sabres this year and in past years. Was he on Florida when he went on a crazy run a couple of years ago? Listen,
their first run to the Cup.
Yes.
Bob making $10 million. They had Alex Lyon, who was in the American Hockey League earlier that year, as the starting goalie when they started it out. Now, I think Bob ended up getting in later on, but Lyon was Maurice's starter until further notice when they first started sort of this run of all their trips to the Cup final before, of course, being out of it this year. Although they will get their pick in the top 10 because it was top 10 protected. So Chicago's going to have to wait on the first rounder coming from the Seth Jones trade coming up. Now, tonight in the NHL, we got 3 more games. Rima, you got to love the schedule for tonight because, people have some things earlier on. If you're locked in right out of the gate, 6 p.m., turn your TV on, if for nothing else than the intro and the beginning of the game, because the atmosphere in that Bell Center will be nothing short of electric. Lightning Habs Game 3 tonight in Montreal is going to be must-see at 6. And then later on tonight, Remo, the good old Friday night, late night doubleheader, 8:30 or 8:37, whatever time they drop the puck. The first game in Utah, first playoff game in Utah for the Mammoth and Golden Knights in that series, 1-1. And then a big one in the Duck Pond later on tonight. Connor McDavid with 0 points for the series. The Oiler power play struggling. The PK getting killed by the Ducks. And a 1-1 series. Big one tonight at 9 o'clock. This is, for my money, certainly the Lightning, Canadians, and Utah, Vegas have been 2 of the best series so far. Oilers Ducks have been great if you've liked goals. This is shaping up to be a pretty damn night on the couch for people that aren't going to be going out.
Yeah, I love the late games, although my sleep got a bit messed up from some of these late overtimes earlier in the week. But if you had to rank the series from the best and the best to the worst, I think the Carolina Ottawa had that one good game. But the others, I'm not so sure. LA, Colorado's been okay, but not exactly close. Vegas, Utah, I like this upstart Utah with all the young guys. Cooley's got a couple goals. Clayton Keller, Dylan Guenther, some young stars against an older Vegas team. Tampa, Montreal, back and forth. Seems like these teams really hate each other. And if you have a game at the Bell Center, it's going to be rocking tonight. And Edmonton, Anaheim, what's going on here with McDavid? 0 points in 2 games. It looked terrible. It didn't hurt them in game 1, which they won, but could have used some other goals in game 2. And I also think goaltending and defense been a question for Edmonton all year. How are you going to slow down these Anaheim Ducks? They're almost too young to care. Cutter Gauthier getting on the board, Beckett, Seneca having a great rookie season, which gets kind of overlooked because of Matthew Schaefer. But you really like what they've done on the defense, adding John Carlson to a nice team with Jackson Lacombe. Not the most household names, but this Anaheim team, very young and exciting, coached by Joel Quenneville. Almost does it remind you of the early Blackhawks, which he coached on their way to Stanley Cups. Maybe there's some parallels there.
If Seneca is, if he continues the trajectory coming off of his great rookie year, it's probably not a bad comparison because Leo Carlson is the real deal. We know that. Cutter Gauthier, who they were able to get because he, bitched his way out of Philly. He scored 41 goals this year. So, they have a crop of young talent in Anaheim that is pretty, like a lot of teams are pretty envious of. And, Mason McTavish, who was top 3 pick, I believe. He's got the long-term contract, and he's playing on the 3rd line right now. But they've still got rooms for the Kreiders and our old pal, Jeffrey VL, the Executioner. Although Gudis might not be in. He's been out. And, of course, Jacob Trouba as well. Oh, and we can't forget Jackson Lacombe, who no one really knew who he was, and then signed the $9 million deal, last year in the summer. And it's like, okay, excuse me? Who is this guy? But Anaheim's great. And what's nuts, their power play is at 60% in the series so far. And the Oilers has been terrible. And they came in, I believe, with the 31st ranked penalty kill. And yet they have dominated special teams. So I would imagine that will change. But it's been a long time since we've said Connor McDavid's got to get it going, Remis. But that really is the situation for tonight. He's gone 2 games without points. They didn't win a single game all year without Connor McDavid getting on the score sheet. It's great to have Dickinson and Kapanen and Podkolzin and some other guys chipping in. But it's about time that 97 kind of showed up for the playoffs, and I will be looking at him for a big one tonight.
Can't imagine he goes 3 games in a row without a point. And I think we're also overlooking some of the injuries they had to centers. Adam Henrique, he's not going on the trip. Dickinson, who was their trade deadline acquisition with the big game 1, he might be available for game 3. And just the guys that you have to replace, your center depth. I mean, Curtis Lazar, did you know he was still on an NHL roster? He's on the 4th line now, but it does hurt you when you're missing, 2 centers.
Well, and you know who else? I was talking to Dusty about this on the Lock Shop. I was completely unfamiliar with Josh Szymanski.
Yeah.
That goal that he scored to tie it up in game 2 was unbelievable. Apparently he had 2 goals earlier, but neither of them were off of his stick. So that was the first one that he actually scored. But he looked pretty good. It hasn't been the supporting cast that's let the team down so far. They got to get more from McDavid in that top line. He'll be skating with Savoy and Zach Hyman. So we'll hit the cool bet lines at the end of the program before we get into the marbles. There was some news around the NHL today. There has been a house cleaning in Columbus for our guy Bones. All of the assistant coaches, Mike Havland, Scott Ford, as well as their video coach, will not return. They, I guess, had contracts that were expiring this summer. Will be interesting to see who Bones taps on his on the shoulder to round out his staff. Little bit of a different scenario with Bones kind of coming in. Arnie, I think, was sort of already part of it, but they were familiar with each other, and obviously it worked really well. But Bones will be setting up his staff moving forward now that he is the man to change the culture in Columbus. But as far as from this morning, no Slavkovsky, no Josh Anderson amongst those absent from the morning skate. But, man, it went from bad to worse. We talked about the Sens loss last night, Remo. Must win game 4, and now their best defenseman, Sanderson, ruled out due to a concussion. They can't catch a break right now, the Ottawa Senators, in this series against the Canes.
And no supplemental discipline for Taylor Hall for the hit on Sanderson. I think there's been a couple missed opportunities. Zuccarello out with a head injury. He's game time decision for Minnesota tomorrow. He took an elbow from former Jet Tyler Myers, who actually we totally forgot about Tyler Myers on our Jet power poll, or former Jet in the Plus power poll. We forgot about him on Dallas. We totally forgot about him. But Taylor Hall had, kind of went up into Sanderson's head. Travis Green didn't like it. No supplemental discipline, and unfortunate result there for Ottawa.
Jet Greaves, speaking of one other, just a quick hockey note for those of us that are locked in for the World Championship because our teams aren't in the playoffs. Jet Greaves is going to play for Canada. Other goalies are still TBD, but he has accepted. He'll be heading to Switzerland with the squad, figuring out who the other 2 goalies are. I guess Eric Comrie, has he played any international?
Wasn't he on the World Juniors one time? Was he?
For Canada. But I guess as an adult, you can probably pick again.
You can?
It'd be cool. Even if he was the 3rd stringer, be cool to see Eric get that opportunity to go out. Even if he doesn't play, he'd be a great vibes guy for the team. Jet Greaves, I'm sure, is going to play. But the roster, in case you're following along, Gabe Vilardi, Dylan DeMello, Mark Scheifele from the Winnipeg Jets. John Tavares has committed. And you know what? The center depth is going to be pretty good. Mark Scheifele, Robert Thomas, and Ryan O'Reilly. That tournament is going to get going on the 15th of May. And, of course, our guys, Dan Robertson and Kevin Sawyer, going to be doing calls from Switzerland on the tourney.
Yeah, and I have it here. Eric Comrie, 2015 World Juniors. And you mentioned Canadian goalies. I'm pretty sure Comrie had better numbers this season than Canada's goalie in the Olympics, Jordan Binnington. So it would be nice
Get him on the team. Get him on the team. Even if it's the third string.
Hey.
Let Jet Graves go. He'll be a great backup, and be nice to see Eric get a bit of a nod. But as I said, it'll be Greaves. He'll be the starter, and they'll figure out who the other two goalies are. Moose tonight against Milwaukee, 7:00 start. We do have a link if you want to pick up tickets, special discounted ticket, friends and family deal in the description of this show today, whether you're with us on YouTube, whether you're listening on the podcast. So if you do want to get some last-minute seats, jump on those. Dave Minuk is going to join us a little later on to set that up. I know Ken was at the game. We'll maybe talk about a few of the players that are still kicking for the Moose right now, but also more on the Jets offseason. Kenny is going to join us a little earlier than normal. That will be next right here on Winnipeg Sports Talk. Don't go anywhere.
Hey, Bob, you hear the news?
I can't listen to the news, Daryl.
This is different.
Always so negative.
Not this time. Manitoba's got these new jobs agreements. And when the government builds things like new schools and hospitals, they'll hire Manitoba workers first.
Really?
Creating good jobs with union standards and more apprenticeships for Manitobans. And we'll get rid of those out-of-province license plates on job sites.
Keeping our money working for Manitobans, eh?
You betcha.
Well, that's how it should work.
I knew you'd like it.
A message from Manitoba's Building Trades and Federation of Labor.
Spring into good times at Uptown Alley and eat, drink, and play at the most fun spot in the city. You'll enjoy 5-pin bowling, 10-pin bowling, a state-of-the-art arcade, and good times playing laser tag as well. And in addition, Uptown Alley features incredible food and drink options at their bistro. Pop down to Uptown Alley with your group or make it a party. It's the best place in Winnipeg for birthday parties for kids, teens, or adults, and an amazing spot for corporate events where you just simply pick your activities, any of your add-ons, what you'd like to eat, and the Uptown Alley staff takes care of everything else. For more information, go to uptownalley.ca, book a lane at 488-0000, or pop down and see him at 1301 St. Matthews Avenue. Got a move coming up? Lean on our friends and longtime sponsors at Rolly's Transfer, the most trusted name in moving and storage in Manitoba. Now into their 7th decade with over 60 years of experience, family owned and operated. Head over to their website at rollies.com to find out all about their services serving Winnipeg and southern Manitoba. In the top right corner, you can click on Request an Estimate. Use the promo code WST for a special discount on moving services and moving supplies, and then simply let them know when you're moving, where you're moving to, and what needs to be moved. And the friendly staff at Rollies will turn it around quickly and get you a great quote to get you locked in for the white glove treatment that they've been famous for now for over 60 years in Winnipeg. For all your moving needs, make it Rolly's Transfer, the most trusted name in the game. Find out more and request an estimate today on your next move at Rollies.com. Has it been a minute since you've been to the dentist? If it is, our pal Doc Harry and the wonderful staff at St. Vital Dental Center would love to see you. They've been taking care of generations of Winnipeggers and Manitobans in St. Vital for years, and have now moved into a beautiful new facility at 167 St. Anne's with state-of-the-art equipment and convenient free parking right behind the building. They'll handle customers and clients from 6 months to 99 plus with a full array of dental services, from cleanings and checkups to surgeries like dental implants. Dr. Terry and the gang can absolutely do it all. We'll do it with a smile on their face and make your smile look even better than it's ever been. Go to StVitalDental.ca online to make an appointment. Pop into St. Vital Dental, get that girl taken care of, and tell them the boys at Winnipeg Sports Talk sent you. All right, let's get Wiebe in here for a little Friday puck talk. Kenny, how are you?
Great to be with you as always, Huss. Yeah, it's feeling a little. The other Wednesday felt like playoff hockey with the warm weather, and today feels like a little bit of a chill has kind of clouded over the fine province of Manitoba. But still a good day for a Calder Cup playoff hockey, if you will.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, yesterday was the first time I'd actually legitimately felt warm or hot in months, and it was a great feeling, and it was fleeting. Because, yeah, it is a little chillier. It is a little chillier today. But as I said, there's still lots of hockey going on. I want to get to some NHL topics and obviously Jets with you, but it may as well. You mentioned the Calder Cup playoffs. You were there on Wednesday. What were your takeaways from the game, but also, I mean, why many of us were there really focusing in on who might be in the mix for the Winnipeg Jets next year? Who stood out to you, Ken? What did you think of the game?
Yeah, for sure, Huss. I mean, it's my first Moose game in I think 2 years. So again, and that's not from lack of interest or wanting to see players.
It's your first Moose game in 2 years?
I think so. Yeah. Unfortunately, yes. But good to reconnect with the roots, Huss. I think the last Moose game I was at, I think Yaroslav Askarov was the goalie of the Milwaukee Admirals. So we know it's been a couple of years since that time, but. Overall, I thought the Moose played a pretty solid game. They had a couple of kind of wobbles. Obviously, Huss, you were there. Early game was a reminder of how scrambly it can be, and at that level, especially with two teams that are familiar with one another and want to run each other out of the building. But after, other than a couple of breakdowns, I mean, the Brady Martin goal was one that the Moose would definitely like to get back when he split the D there. The tip-in goal by Reed Schaefer, nice play during the 4-on-4. But otherwise, I mean, the Moose generated plenty, Huss, but, in sort of getting some of the feedback, it's not abnormal for them to generate a lot, but maybe not have as high quality as they would like, and maybe not as much natural finishing ability, which is kind of a surprise, Huss. I mean, to me, they've got a lot of talent and guys that can score at that level. Matt Murray obviously played a strong game, but I wouldn't be surprised to see the Moose put up a few more tonight. But in terms of individuals, I thought I liked Colby Barlow's game, Huss. I mean, I had a good visit with him, along with Dave Minuk and Gord Anderson from the Sun on Tuesday to tee up the series. I've liked a lot of what I've seen from Colby. Obviously, we know he had a strong finish to the year, 4 goals in 4 games. But the big thing around Colby's game is his pace, Huss. Is he going to be able to skate at an NHL level? And this is a guy who lost a lot of weight in the offseason and had to try to withstand the rigors of a 72-game professional schedule for the first time. Obviously, there were some downs. There were some ups. I liked what I saw from him. I thought he moved well. He was involved physically. Really nice setup on the Parker Ford goal. One of the things that was maybe missed, Huss, I mean, he was open backdoor on that rush. I mean, Phil DiGiuseppe got a great shot off Huss, but I mean, again, the one of the benefits from sitting in the press box where you have the 3D view, that was one of those that you were like, whoa, boy, like it was a good shot from a high danger area, and often the tendency is to overpass, but it looked like Barlow found himself some quiet ice and might have been able to get an important goal on that front. But anyways, I liked his game. I thought Lucas Wallen was very impressive, Huss. I know you share the same thoughts. This is a guy that was signed by the Jets as an undrafted college free agent. He played at St. Thomas University where he was the captain. I'd heard a lot of good things about him having a high motor, Huss, and that motor was on display all night long. He's a very good skater, tenacious forechecker. He threw a couple of massive hits, and he generated 5 shots on net, Huss, many of them around the blue paint. So I really liked what I saw from Wallen, who was playing with Braden Yager and Brad Lambert, who, again, most eyes were on those two players, along with Danny Zhilkin going into the game. I thought Lambert had the best scoring chance of any player on either side on a 2-on-1 rush with Braden Yager. He elected to shoot. It was the right decision. He ripped a puck, was going to go, you thought, her down. But for Brad, it was bar up and around. A little bit of frustration for him, but that was a really good chance. Yager was out for a couple goals against, but I liked the way his game translated after coming back from the NHL. And Huss, I mean, we know this from being around the Moose prior to the Jets 2.0 return. Sometimes it can be a bit of a letdown for players to come down, but the other guys just take that pace and try to explode and really build. So I liked what I saw from Jagr overall. On the back end, Isaac Phillips is a guy who, had some nice moments with the Jets when he was up. I thought he was a physical force. And again, we've talked a lot about Tyrell Bauer. I thought that he was, we saw it after the morning skate, Dave Minuk and I speaking with him, he looked like he was ready to go with anybody who might have walked down the hallway. But, again, physical in the game, lots of hits. He found no takers on the dance card, but, noticeable player in the game also. Huss, and again, obviously today the big news for the Moose is getting Elias Solomonson back. Had a good visit with him after the morning skate as well with Dave Minuk the other day. And I mean, this is a guy who is a bona fide number one defenseman at the American Hockey League level. We know he has missed some time the last 7 games of the year. I loved his response to working his way through concussion protocol. I found it interesting that, he felt it was incumbent upon him to be more ready for the Jason Robertson hit. I mean, that's a pretty, I was not expecting him to say that, but I mean, that's good acknowledgement. I mean, I still think it was kind of one of those weird plays, but good on him for saying he needed to be more ready to be hit. And, this is a guy who's going to have his head on a swivel at all times. He can really provide a big boost. And now it's just a matter of finishing the chances and kind of going from there. But it was a fun game. I mean, again, wasn't the result they wanted, but sounds like the crowd's going to be a little bigger tonight, Huss. And I would expect it's going to be another exciting game. And again, for Milwaukee, Brady Martin, a chance to see the 5th overall pick from last year. A guy suited up for Team Canada. I thought he had a really strong game for his first Calder Cup playoff game.
Yeah, Martin was noticeable. That Zach LaRue's a pain in the ass. I mean, Ozzy Weisblatt was running around. I mean, I think they got 6 guys back when the Predators didn't make the playoffs. So, I mean, that's a big boost to their lineup. It happens everywhere in the year, but
and then Jordan Osterley too, the block on Fagemo. I mean, Huss, that might have completely changed the complexion of the game. I think it was still, maybe it was 2-0 at that time, but that was a Moose power play, and it looked like it was an open net, and he found a way to get his stick in there. That was a really good play by a guy with almost 400 NHL games.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens, and Dave's going to kind of tee it up for us a little bit later on when he joins us in the second hour of the program. If you haven't seen the team and you're interested in the prospects or just getting out and supporting the squad, hit that link in the description and get yourself a special deal on a ticket, and we'll see it from there. Just one more on that though. You mentioned Elias. The one thing that it seemed like the team was really missing was that steady, consistent, puck moving defensemen. They had a tough time really getting things going sometimes from their own end, despite the fact that they had 43 shots on net. So I don't think he can get back into the lineup soon enough, and I wouldn't be surprised as long as he's ready to go. He's got his wind after not playing a couple weeks. Expect a lot of Elias on the ice tonight when things get going. Stanley Cup playoffs, Ken. Did you watch the Ottawa game last night?
Yeah, I watched the majority, for sure, the last 2 periods in full.
Have you ever seen a 5-on-3 power play butchered like the Sens did last night?
I mean, there have been some bad ones all around. I mean, I think always hesitant for the recency bias, but no, I mean, it was not a good look for sure. I really actually liked Ottawa's first 2 games, Huss, on a lot of fronts. They just didn't finish. Similar to that Moose game in some ways. I mean, Tim Stützle had, 3 or 4 posts in the first 2 games. They had all kinds of chances. But I mean, Huss, to your point, I mean, your best look on an extended 5-on-3 that goes 70 seconds cannot be a outside the dots one-timer from Brady Tkachuk. It's one of those things where, it seems easy, right? But I mean, there's lots of room on the ice, but if the puck movement isn't there and you're kind of just don't get it going, and then there's no, to me, like Tampa does this better than anybody, Huss, or they used to. The ability to interchange on those 5-on-3s is so important. I mean, we used to see it with the Capitals when Kuznetsov and Backstrom and Ovechkin all worked kind of simultaneously with TJ Oshie and John Carlson. But it's kind of become a little bit of a lost art. So, I mean, I think that was obviously costly, but the Senators, the Senators are right there with their opponent, but their inability to cash in on their chances has been very costly for them so far. And now losing Jake Sanderson is, with already having Artem Zub, probably the best defensive defenseman. I mean, I think Sanderson's still a better all-around defenseman and might be a better defender also. But in terms of, Zub is kind of their Dylan Samberg shutdown kind of player. And without both of those guys, and with Thomas Chabot kind of playing playing hurt, obviously, and Clevin just back for the first time. I mean, it's an awfully big ask to suspect that the Senators are going to be able to run the table 4 straight here. And the biggest question mark about the Senators going into the series was Ullmark. Would Ullmark hold up? And the goaltending has actually been quite fantastic for Ottawa. And we know, again, we saw the numbers going into the series. He was much better down the stretch, despite the controversy on and off the ice or whatever else. But Ullmark deserves credit for keeping his team into it, but they're going to have to score if they want to win. It's pretty simple. Carolina looks like a team, Huss, that many, including myself, had going all the way to the Stanley Cup final. I mean, Nikolai Ehlers has had a strong start to the series. There's no doubt about that, setting up the OT winner for Minuk.
Hit an empty net, Nick. Jeez.
That was fairly wide. that was a little wide, but I've liked his game, and Huss, so interesting, right? What were we talking about this time last year? Opportunity. Well, right now, Nikolai Ehlers is playing on a very important line, Huss, but he's on the equivalent of playing on the checking line with Adam Lowry right now. He's playing with Jordan Staal and Jordan Martinook. Again, we know that line has been asked to go out against Stützle a ton, and Nick is no longer on the first power play, but he's still found a way to be incredibly effective, career high for points. And you notice him, still a zone entry machine. His speed is on display. He's a player who likes to mix it up and get involved. But it wasn't the number one power play and rolling alongside Jarvis and Aho that we were expecting when he signed that deal in the offseason.
We got Utah Vegas tonight. Yep. I have been very impressed with Utah, which as a Jets fan gives me pause thinking about what this division's going to look like in the next few years, because that team is on the rise. You've got the best team in the league from the regular season, the Colorado Avalanche, and 2 incredibly good squads in Dallas and Minnesota. Just on the Utah, your thoughts on their chances of potentially making it through Vegas? I mean, a hell of a start with the first 2 on the road. And then we'll get into Dallas, Minnesota.
Yeah, I love the way that Dylan Guenther's playing. I mean, Huss, we were fortunate enough to see Guenther on that stacked Edmonton Oil Kings team that beat the Winnipeg Ice the one year here in the Western Hockey League playoffs. That team also had Caden Gooley on it. I mean, they were a juggernaut, to be sure. And again, we're seeing Zach Benson, doing some pretty fun things, and Connor Geekie in the playoffs here as well. But Utah is fun to watch, Huss. I mean, to me. Yep. They're fast, they're explosive, they can score off the rush. To me, I don't think they're ready to defend well enough to knock out Vegas in a 7-game series. But guys like Logan Cooley, Nick Schmaltz, I mean, these guys are willing to mix it up. They've kind of had their hands full on a lot of fronts. And I mean, to your point, I mean, Vegas could be down 2-0, but to me, their veteran experience and savvy, their third period the other night, their fourth line was absolutely on fire for Vegas. Huss, Nick Dowd, Cole Smith and Colton Sissons out there at various times, and sometimes Colasar with them. I mean, they found a way to get the job done. And then Mark Stone, what a job on the power play by him. But yeah, I mean, Utah's fun. I don't think they defend well enough to go on an extended run, but they're giving Vegas everything that they can handle. And Vegas is going to need guys like Jack Eichel and Mitch Marner to elevate further. To me, Huss, I mean, we know, having seen Vegas when they came through, that some of those star players were kind of not, I'm not going to say out of sorts, but not at their peak operational levels coming out of the Olympics. Tomas Hertl right now can't put it in the ocean, Huss. I mean, he's got so many chances. He's in 20 plus games without a goal here right now. And this is a guy who's an Olympian and a really high end player. So Vegas, I still like them to win the series, but I do think Utah is going to give them everything that they can handle. And Vejmelka, Huss, we've seen peak Vejmelka over the years against the Jets, and he's been really good in the series as well.
Yeah, he has. Now, man, that game, I was joking yesterday. We know how the times work for the Central Division in the first round.
Oh, boy.
Man, those Minnesota fans that were walking out of the building on a Wednesday night, Thursday morning at 1 a.m., having to show up at work the next day, gutted that their team had just lost in double overtime, had one. But this series, I really thought after the first game and how close the second game was, that this was Minnesota's for the taking. But what a big win for Dallas. And I don't know, who did you have picked to win this beforehand?
I did pick Dallas in 7, but I mean, I love the way that both teams play. But Huss, I mean, as I reminded a lot of people after game 1, I mean, it was a decisive one-sided blowout. I get it, but to be frank, I think the only game Dallas has won in the last couple of years in game ones was the game against the Jets, which ultimately sort of set the tone for the entire series last year in round 2. They've had a bunch of clunkers in the first round. They got blown out by Colorado last year in game 1 of the first round also. So Oettinger looked nervous to me in game 1. Huss, not nervous in terms of he wasn't ready for the moment, but there seemed to be some lingering effects from the, getting pulled in the game against Edmonton. That sort of was the end of the Pete DeBoer era for the Stars. He's really regrouped and done a great job. Miro Heiskanen has just been absolutely nails, Huss, for the Dallas Stars. Just absolutely tremendous. Close to 50 minutes the other night. I think 45 or whatever it was. Love the way that he's played. Wyatt Johnston, just such a clutch performer, Huss. And again, people say power play merchant, but it's not that he's only a power play merchant. That's 28, I think, now on the power play. But this is a guy who can really 6th game winner. There's the 6th playoff game winner, I think, for him. Impressive. Minnesota's right there, Huss. We know this is a coin flip series. I think that the Wall of St. Paul has done a great job between the pipes for the Wild. I think that they need a little bit more from Kaprizov, is my personal view there. I love the way that Joel Eriksson-Ek is playing. To me, the reason why I picked Dallas in a coin flip series is because I just think that the Stars have a little bit more depth. Obviously, we know that Minnesota leans on Quinn Hughes, and he's done an exceptional job. Didn't like the swan dive in overtime, Huss, personally, but Rantanen had one of his own, so it that was a little bit of an even off or washout, I guess, and glad that it wasn't ended on either one of those plays. But I love the series. I love the way that Marco Foligno's running guys through the boards, and this is two teams that really have a lot of experience. But us, as we talked about last week, I mean, the Wild have not been out of round 1 in a long time. I think Nino Niederreiter had the GWG to send them to the second round, and that's sort of been a little bit of an issue for them, to be frank. And I love the way that they played, but right now Dallas, especially, Huss, this is the wild part. We know injuries are a part of the game, but being without their number 1 center and having a 2-1 lead without Roope Hintz is a big time accomplishment for the Wild. So for the Stars. And Huss, one of the reasons Maverick Bourque, former American Hockey League MVP, has really elevated his game in that middle 6 role for the Stars.
Yeah, no doubt. Now, as you will expect, and all our listeners, I'll be at the front of the line to dance on the Wild's grave if they're out in the first round again. And it'll be great to know that they, their futility continues. But the reality of this is these two teams should not even be playing each other. I mean, they're two of the top teams in the league. And it is unfortunate for whoever is out early that, the format is what it is. All that being said, we can talk about Utah, who's an up-and-coming team. They're exciting. We know what Colorado is, and we're watching this series, which is an absolute war between Dallas and Minnesota, who are now, the top teams and the teams to beat in the Central Division. When you watch these games, thinking about where the Winnipeg Jets are right now with their roster at the end of this season, knowing that we're going into some changes in the offseason.
Yep.
How far do the Winnipeg Jets need to go in your mind to be able to compete with the class of the Central Division right now? Because to be honest, from where I'm sitting, it seems like the gap is as big as it's been in a long, long time when you think of what's missing from Winnipeg and what we're seeing every night from these top teams in the Central.
Yeah, I mean, Huss, if you're looking at players 1 to 20, I mean, it's totally fair with where you're coming from. I would just also, I know they're not a Central Division team, but let's point to the LA Kings here. They're going toe to toe with the best team in the NHL, and the Jets were right there with LA down the stretch until LA kind of pulled away, right? So I don't know that it's this as wide a gulf as it maybe feels like at times, but the majority of those teams play with so much speed, right? All those teams either have speed or they have size. And right now the Jets didn't do enough, didn't play fast enough, and they didn't play a robust enough game for a good chunk of the year. So I do think it is a reminder that the personnel changes need to be made for sure. But again, last year if we were having the same conversation when the roster was similar, we included the Jets among those teams. So there's definitely some ground to make up, though. Let's not pretend that the Jets are right there with Colorado. But again, I don't feel like this is a 1 to 32 sort of scenario. But again, the Jets have to have some internal growth, and they're going to have to upgrade the personnel if they want to compete with those teams. Because as you mentioned, it's not just the teams that made it. there's 16 other teams, including 8 in the West, that feel like they'll have a chance to be considerably better next year, including San Jose, who we saw in the regular season finale. So, yeah, I mean, there's work to do, no doubt. But again, I don't think this is Jets should be, folding up the franchise or saying we can't compete with these guys. I mean, that I don't view it as that bad either. But they definitely have to upgrade some personnel in terms of being able to compete for a playoff spot again. There's no doubt.
Yeah, well, I mean, listen, I just thought, I mean, they were way off of them for regular season standards. And now you see what's happening in the playoffs, and you add in that physicality, which the Jets just don't have at all right now.
Not enough of. That's for sure.
I mean, certainly after the trade deadline. So, I mean, Monday was a big day. We heard from Cheveldayoff and we heard from Scott Arniel. Listen, everyone knows what the situation is with this team. And, if they'd said anything other than, we're going through everything to, evaluate where we're at, I think would have been, a disappointment. But did we learn anything, in your opinion, from what? Was there anything that we can sort of take from Monday in specific that, okay, well, that's something to know about where they're going? Or was it more just, hey, we didn't get it done this year and it's time to go under the hood and try and figure it out?
Yeah, I mean, we're always looking for breadcrumbs or trying to read the tea leaves and all those things. And I know that one of the things that got the most play out of Monday was the lack of a firmer endorsement from Kevin Cheveldayoff towards Scott Arniel. I think, Huss, to me, that's more the environment and the setting than a feeling that Scott Arniel's job is, definitely in jeopardy. Huss, to me, that it just seemed like, to your point, I mean, if you're saying it's an unmitigated disaster, essentially, and then you're saying, oh, by the way, we're going to extend the coach. I mean, that the timing of that doesn't really fly with the fan base to me. I know that Scott Arniel has met with his coaching staff, but I'm not sure if that meeting with Kevin Cheveldayoff has occurred yet in terms of their exit meeting and breakdown. But again, my expectation is that Scott Arniel is going to be back unless something happened. I mean, unless something popped up in the exit interviews, or unless,
You said extend. Like, we're not talking an extension right now. We're just talking about the opportunity.
Sorry, just my point, Huss. I mean, I think that right now the most likely scenario is Scott Arniel coming back for the last year of his deal. But I mean, it's also not abnormal for teams to try to me, I don't see it as the last year, the lame duck status. I don't feel like that's a real thing anymore. I know some people feel differently, but I think that the chances are I would say are good that Scott Arniel is running this team in September. Now, again, unless there's something that's happened in some meeting somewhere else that I'm unaware of, and if that has occurred, I would have also expected that the Jets would have acted swiftly. But again, you want to have a full autopsy. I mean, one of the things, some of the GMs and coaches are only talking yesterday. Like Detroit was having their meetings yesterday. So I don't know. We'll see how everything transpires. But yeah, I mean, I totally understand. We have this conversation 3 times a year. We have it in the trade deadline. We have it in the summer around free agency. We're leading into it. People would love a level of transparency that is clearer, but I just don't think that is something that you see in a lot of other markets. Now, again, I'm not saying that you wouldn't want to see it. Of course, everyone wants to see it, but anyone who's watched Kevin Cheveldayoff in his 15 pressers, there haven't been a ton of times, in good times or bad, when he has laid out the offseason plan. And thus, the reality is you want to have a pretty good idea of your plan, but there's always going to be a team that falls out, and you're not going to know a player's available till whatever else. Now, I think he could have been a little bit more forthcoming and said, hey, we need to address the center position on the second line or whatever. But again, the fact that there wasn't a 5-step playoff plan, I don't think should have been surprising to most. Though again, everyone would like to have a little clearer direction. I just don't see, I don't see a lot of teams laying that plan out, I guess, whether they're in the playoffs or out.
The big question is to who's going to be coming back. And
sure.
I mean, listen, when we look at the Jets team for next year, I mean, as of right now, there's not a lot of open spots. I mean, you got Scheifele, Velarde, Connor, Niederreiter, Iafallo, Adam Lowry, Vlad Nemetsnikov, Morgan Barron, Cole Koepke with his extension, all signed up. Two-parter. Did what you hear the previous Friday change your expectation that Jonathan Toews will try to come back next season? And of those players that I just mentioned, how many won't be on the team to start next season? Or will they bring everybody back?
Yeah, I don't see the running it back scenario being at the top of the priority list here. Huss, Liss ran a poll the other day. I think it was of the players, how many? I think I voted for 4+ not returning. So I know my opinion has not changed. I think that Jonathan Toews could play another year if he wanted to. I think that, as we talked about, I think that his ability to come back and play, I think maybe would have sort of allowed him to have some closure and maybe scratch the itch, if you will. Obviously, it didn't go as well as he had hoped. Of course, we know that. But even though I think the door would be open, I don't think that he is. I think he's ready for the next chapter of his life. In terms of other guys,
so you think he's?
I think he's done.
The last time we spoke, we
spoke before Friday. You're right. Sorry, we spoke before the players spoke. My feelings, and sorry, it's because I wrote about it. Sorry, I was on Wednesday with you. So my thought was that he was going to be returning outside of what I saw Friday with my own eyes. Huss, the length of the hugs were not a see you in the fall type of scenario for me. The fact that he walked out of the building with 20 sticks that were signed by teammates. Now, again, Jonathan may have a private collection that I'm not aware of, but to me that looked more like a farewell than a see. We always talk about end of school feel, Huss. Nothing that I saw, whether it was Jonathan at his locker talking to players or him grabbing his bag and all the sticks that were signed and that he signed for others, none of that suggested to me that there was a, see in a couple months kind of feel. Now, again, as Jonathan eloquently pointed out, at the end of a long year and a condensed schedule, maybe you're not ready to make the decision right away. Now, he may wake up in 2 weeks and say, you know what, my body got through that tough year, I want to go again. But right now, I would say the chances are pretty high that he's played his last NHL game.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I guess if they are going to make these other changes, I mean, the big question is, what do they do?
Got to be trading. Got to be making moves.
Do you think that there would be could you trade a Niederreiter? Could you trade a Nemestikov with a year left? Do you think those players are still guys that would, even if you're just essentially trading it for maybe a later round pick and opening up the spot on your club, is that available, or would it have to be a buyout if they wanted to go that route?
I mean, Vlad Nemistikov's been an attractive piece to a bunch of teams at various points in his career, and we understand that he had a tough second half, of course, but he still had 6 goals in 12 games at some point, at the start of the year, I think. So to me, Rick Bowness being back in Columbus, he's trying to change the culture. I could easily see that being a soft landing spot for Vlad Nemestikov, who gave a lot to this organization, including playing a second line center role for a good chunk of one season and a little bit more. But to me, I think that Nemestikov probably is going to be on the move. In terms of Niederreiter, Huss, it's hard to gauge. If other teams' pro scouts see that Niederreiter, being closer to the 16 goal scorer than the 8 goal scorer, then yes, you can probably move him also. But to me, there's probably, if Nino's moved, there's probably some salary retention involved, whether teams want to do it or not. I mean, at $4 million with a rising cap, even if you retain $1 million or whatever else, Huss, right? So goal scoring is still a valuable commodity. Nino's a guy who's spent a lot of his career living around the blue paint and playing in the middle six. So I think that based on how the Jets want to get faster, I don't know that Niederreiter is going to be back. Now, again, he's given a lot to this organization since he arrived. He's played over 1,000 NHL games, so maybe it's as simple as he goes home and has a better summer and gets his pace back and is able to line up beside Adam Lowry and kind of recreate what we saw 2 years ago. And if that's the case, the Jets would be in a good place. But just quite simply, Nino has to be at a different level in order to be a contributor on this team next year outside of being on the fourth line. And I don't think that that's where he wants to be in his career.
Agreed on that as well. Kenny, you have yourself a great weekend. We'll look forward to catching up next week. Thanks for doing this, dude.
Yeah, my pleasure, Huss. It'll be an interesting offseason. And again, May 5th will be here soon enough. And we'll have lots of time to talk about the simulations.
Yeah, big margarita party on Cinco de Mayo when the Jets win the draft lottery. Take it easy, dude.
Yeah, have a great weekend. And sorry, Niverville Nighthawks, as a MJHL graduate, Huss, I have to give a shout out. And again, my former Winkler Flyers line mate, Tyson Ramsey, is the head coach and GM of Verdun as well. So lots of connections and some good Pembina Valley Hawks connections. with Niverville, also with associate coach Jeff McGill and Mike McCauley, the GM and director of player development there. So congratulations to them. And I guess we should also say, with Manitoba connections, Flin Flon Bombers win the SJHL for the first time in a long time. So there'll be some strong Manitoba representation at the Centennial Cup coming up next month.
Love it, Kenny. Thanks a lot. Yes, the Nighthawks, the champions of the Manitoba Junior Hockey League, their first championship was going to be a first-time winner one way or the other, because Verdun had never won before. But we'll have maybe the coach on. They probably have some sobering up to do after a big party last night in Niverville for their first championship. Brandon Rewucki is going to join us coming up in just a minute. Folks, now is the time to get your tickets for the 2026 Tri-Hospital Dream Lottery in support of the St. Boniface Hospital, the Health Sciences Center, and the HSC Children's Hospital. Go to tryhospitaldream.com to get your tickets and be in for not only the incredible grand prizes, the biggest ever, one of 5 $1.7 million dream home packages, or $1.35 million. That's $1,350,000 tax-free. But it's not just the grand prize that you'll be in if you get your tickets now. You are going to be involved and eligible for 43 prizes of more than $400,000 in bonus and early bird prizes if you get your tickets right now. Overall, in this year's lottery, the biggest ever, 1,500 prizes to win, worth over $2.3 million. And of course, it is all in support of our 3 major hospitals. So go to tryhospitaldream.com, get your tickets. Don't forget to get in on the 50-50 plus, the unlimited summer jackpot, Manitoba's biggest, and 125 winners of more than $170,000 in all cash prizes in the extra cash plus. Get your tickets today, tryhospitaldream.com. And you can also pick them up at London Drugs Red River Co-op locations as well. Hey, we got a big slate of games in the playoffs tonight. Habs and Lightning kicking it off, and then the late night doubleheader. No better place to get into it than Boston Pizza. The new playoff menu's there. The games will be on the big screens. And of course, the Ice Cold Schooners, world famous BP wings and gourmet Boston pizzas will be waiting for you as well. Get on tonight and throughout the weekend to take in the NHL playoffs with the BP playoff menu. And of course, you can also order online and get it hot, fresh to your door at bostonpizza.com. All right, Brandon Rewucki joins us. And I'm glad you're not wearing orange today. I thought you might be coming in like dressed as Gritty or something like that. You must be in a pretty good mood. Brandon's going to join us right away. Let me just quickly remind you all that this segment is brought to you by the Toyota Tacoma. Red tag deals right now at Prairie Toyota dealers. The Toyota standard I-Force engine boasts an impressive towing capacity of up to 6,400 pounds. It's the most powerful Tacoma ever. So whether you're hauling gear to the rink or heading to an away game, you can tackle it with ease. And the available panoramic multi-terrain view monitor gives you a live underfloor view to navigate even the toughest terrain with ease. Experience power, capability, and convenience with the Toyota Tacoma. Visit shoptoyota.ca or your local Prairie Toyota dealer during Red Tag days from March through May. Has the parade route been planned in Philadelphia yet, Brandon?
You know what? I don't even feel super confident, even with the big lead. So, no, we're not getting that far ahead of ourselves. But I'll tell you what, it's been a much more stress-free viewing experience through 3 games than I anticipated so far. So
yeah, tell me about it. I mean, I think we'd have to say, I mean, if we were doing a little Chud's power poll, the most disappointing team so far, it has to be Pittsburgh, and the way they just have not been able to handle it. And the way, I don't know if you caught Spittin' Chicklets yesterday, but Biz had a hilarious rundown of the Penguins getting sucked into the scumbag tendencies of the Philadelphia Flyers. And he goes, listen, they are scumbags. Their fans are scumbags. Their mascot are scumbags. But they're doing it well, and they have really gotten into the heads of Pittsburgh. And when you see all the guys in the penalty box, that's exactly what Rick Tocchet wants. And I mean, the iconic shot of the 6-man Selly inside the box was something for one. But it really does seem like everything is going Philadelphia's way right now. And a lot of momentum for a team that was really one of the hottest in the league just to get into the playoffs.
Yeah, and on the flip side, Pittsburgh, by their own choosing, basically rested the last week of the year. Like, they didn't even attempt. They had it locked up, and they just kind of breezed on through. And I don't know if they figured they could flip the switch or what the deal is, but it's been a nightmare for them.
Hasn't worked.
Yeah, and it's funny, like, that's always gonna, especially with the the Flyers and the Raiders. I think you can maybe name a couple other teams in other leagues, but those are the ones that are always like associated with kind of that like rebel, renegade, dirty type play. They really haven't made that a main focus of these 3 games. But Pittsburgh's just completely lost their composure. Like, just, you would never guess who the veteran team was in this series with the way, like, it's not like back in 2012 where that was the Flyers' main goal. It was, we're going to get in their heads, and then after that, we'll think about playing hockey. It's just, they've been so frustrated by their inability to really generate a ton of high quality chances that it's just, it's seeping through every part of their pores with the Penguins. They don't really have an answer for it. The Flyers aren't an overly fast team, but they look like it against Pittsburgh right now. I'm just blown away. I did not anticipate it going this way. Like, even if you pick the Flyers to win, who would have done this, right? You just wouldn't have expected it to play out this way. But it's been a pretty stunning fall and what could be like the last dance, the last hurrah for this Penguins team.
Speaking of stunning, Porter Martone. I mean, I know there were high expectations for this guy, but from a Flyer standpoint, to have him come in and be a point-a-game player in his first 9 games in the regular season, and then, dare I say, take it up a notch come playoff time. I mean, you had said he might have been the best forward down the stretch, and now you look at the guy who's on the power play, who's involved in all these big goals. It's a kid that wasn't even in the league a month ago. Yeah.
And it's funny, like, if you want to do the whole butterfly effect thing, Michigan State was favored to go to the championship. And what happens if Michigan State doesn't get upset by Wisconsin? The Flyers probably don't even make the playoffs. And so, like, that set everything in motion here.
Good point.
But man, he's just a special, like, he's I'm not gonna say, I'm gonna be careful with this because I don't want people to lose their minds. But, like, how when you watch Celebrini come in, and immediately it was like, oh, this kid's different. He's not at that level, but to that same effectiveness, you're like, oh, he gets it. Like, this is legit here. And so, I mean, like, you do a redraft, Huss, of, I know it's only been 1 year, but, like, that kid's not leaving the top 3. And he might be number 2 behind Matt Schaefer even. Like, he's just already an impact player. And you wonder where he's going to be in, 3 years when the frame fills out and he gets a little more experience. But that when you talked about the scumbag atmosphere, the comments by Biz and the crew, he's king scumbag. Like, he's not as dirty as Marchand was in his earlier days, but, like, that whole love to have him on your team, hate him if he's not on it. He just resembles that to a T, and I don't know if he could have been drafted to a more fitting team than the Flyers.
Listen, it's perfect. Now, Martone was 6th overall, and it does give you an idea about the potential of what the Winnipeg Jets might be able to acquire with that pick. Now, whether it's 7, whether it's 8 or 9, whether they get lucky and it's 1 or 2, I think there's a 0.2% chance of the 3rd pick, but I guess technically that's there. For a team that is a little bit older, that will still want to contend next year, to me, that pick has to be the cornerstone of sort of the next stage of the Winnipeg Jets core.
Yeah, I mean, not to poo-poo on it, but, like, Philip Zadina was also taken 6th overall. Like you
can't screw it up.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens, right? And if they jump up, then that totally changes the conversation here. But there's the possibility this becomes a cornerstone player, not just immediately your best asset, but like a legitimate face of the franchise type player. That's when you have a bad season, that's what you want to have at your disposal here. And with the way this particular draft is set up, the Jets will have a chance to draft. I'm a little doubtful on the center position, but the opportunity at least is there, or what you would hope to be a top pairing defenseman sooner than later. Like that's what they have available for them if they stick and stay at number 7 there. So like they are, if they keep the pick, this is going to be the draft, the best draft pick in, I mean, since 10 years, right? 2016. I honestly though, my main intrigue right now is in who's it going to be? When are they going to be here? I think it's, do they make the pick or not? That to me is the main intrigue right now surrounding the
give me your pros and cons on trading the pick. I was asked about this yesterday, and I mean, and maybe it's just because of what this team looked like last year, but unless Kevin Cheveldayoff had his socks absolutely knocked off by an offer of a guy that can come in under team control, established, that you're counting on 5-6 really good years for sure of. It would be really hard to get me off of that pick, considering the dearth of top prospects within the Winnipeg Jets organization as we speak.
So this is the interesting part of it, Huss, because we go back to Connor Hellebuck's comments a week or so ago, and he's made it very clear to literally anyone that if this team isn't any good next year, he's going to want out. I don't know if there's a path for the Jets to be, and when I say any good, I mean, we'll say quasi-cup contender even. I don't know if there's a path for them to do that without moving the 7th overall pick. Now, some fans might say, great, because then the rebuild can get started and, which different tangent, but totally understandable. But if Winnipeg, and I imagine this is their mindset here, if they want to field a winning team next year and they want to keep Connor Hellebuck and maybe to an extent Josh Morrissey and Kyle Connor and Mark Scheifele happy, like they're going to have to make significant improvements. Free agency, we assume, is not an avenue for them to do that. Trade would be the only route to do so. And with like you said, a lack of really high-end prospects and picks, this would become your one true asset at potentially changing this, right? So that's where I kind of look at this is, what do the Jets, like, what does Jets management want to do? And I think we all, whether you agree with it or not, we all know that the path that they would like to take. And if that's the case, I don't know. I think there's a legitimate opportunity for them to do something here. But I'm also with you in that it can't just be like piece here, piece there, and our team's marginally better. It's like, can you find a way to make something work that brings a legitimate difference maker into?
Yeah, I mean, listen, you have to think about more than just this year, and frankly, more than just keeping your star guys happy. I'm the biggest Hellebuck backer around. I want him to stay here for the rest of his career. I don't even want to talk about him being traded. But I'll tell you what, Kevin Cheveldayoff has to do right by the organization. They cannot just be beholden to a group of players because they said that, hey, we're planning on competing and we had a terrible year last year, so we're going to do anything we can to focus on the next year and make sure that we're back into the playoffs and technically have a chance to win. I mean, there's a city and a fan base and an organization of people that hopefully should be here long after those players are there. So there's tough conversation, there's tough decisions that'll happen, and that's what happens when you have a down season. But for me, and maybe this will be moot after the 5th of May when we're just talking about picking 1 or 2 in the draft. The bottom line is that they need to do what they can to try to make this team better for next year. But I think at the same point, you have to be ready for the law of diminishing returns on older players. And listen, at some point, someone's getting traded. I mean, timing is also everything in that. Like, you don't wait till you have diminished assets. So, as I said, like, I'm all for here doing what they can do this summer, especially in free agency. I think you can do more in the bottom six. Like, are you going to go and get that top six center? Probably not. But can you improve at that position and make the team better, round the rest of the team out and be more competitive and have a vision of what is going to come in the pipeline, whether it's in a year or two with the top prospect picked at the 7 hole. Rue, great stuff as always, man. Enjoyed the weekend. I'm sure you're walking on cloud 9 right now. Probably won't last like this throughout the whole playoffs, but it's been a while. It's been a while for you. Maybe I'll just close with this. As a Flyer guy, did you catch the NFL draft at all last night?
Yeah.
Maybe the moment for Flyer fans, the best moment in the last 10 years, was not even winning these last 3 games. It was having 320,000 out in Pittsburgh and a large contingent of them chanting "Flyers suck." That's when you know you're really in the heads of fans in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, you don't like us, we don't care. We'll see it. We'll see you Saturday night. Have a good one, Hans. We'll talk soon.
Good stuff. There's a very happy Brandon Rewucki joining us. You can check out Skates and Plates wherever you get your favorite podcast. We got a big hockey game tonight. It is game 2. Moose back against the wall. And to tee it up with the latest on the Moose in just a moment, the number one man when it comes to covering the Manitoba Moose 24/7, 365 at Illegal Curve, Dave Minuk tees up game 2 coming up next on WST. Princess Auto is a proud sponsor of Winnipeg Sports Talk, and in a lot of ways synonymous with Winnipeg. Headquartered here in the Peg, founded here in Winnipeg, and now serving Canadians coast to coast with the best deals on the most unique assortment of tools and equipment around. Everything you need to complete the projects on your list or start something new is at Princess Auto. So while we wait for the Bombers to kick off, get ready for spring. Those projects on your list with great deals throughout the month waiting for you at your local Princess Auto, Panet Road, Portage Avenue West in the city, out in Brandon. And you can always shop online 24 hours a day at princessauto.com. Spring is just around the corner, and our friends at Chud's Power Sports up in Gimli, Manitoba's power sports superstar, are ready to get this snow out of here. But before we do that, great end-of-season deals on sleds and snowmobiles that you can check out. But as we get excited for the snow to leave, great preseason deals on motorcycles of all brands, the best in ATVs and side-by-sides, not to mention golf carts for the summer up ahead as well. And it doesn't stop there. Amazing RV options for you to take advantage of the summer, and so many options when it comes to boats as well, in addition to outboard motors from Suzuki and Mercury. The best deals in town. That's how they've been in business as Manitoba's power sports superstore for 80 years. Pop out and see him in Gimli at the corner of Highway 8 and 231, and shop online today at their website at chudspowersports.com. April and spring are here, and Donnie and the gang at Manitoba Battery are kicking it off strong. Spring Power event. Right now, you can save big on the batteries that you actually need this season. Lawn tractor batteries starting at just $37.50. RV and deep cycle batteries from $69.50, and heavy duty power like Group 27 and 78 DT starting at $89.50. Need serious cranking power? Check out their 13-inch stud post battery, $94.50 while supplies last, all in stock and all priced to move. Visit Manitoba Battery on the north side on Logan Avenue, on the south side on Dovercourt Drive, and get powered up for spring at Manitoba Battery, powering what matters. Check them out online today at manitobabattery.com. All right, let's get ready for Game 2 of the Calder Cup playoffs. Dave Minuk jumping on. Truck Month, gang, is now on at GMC. If you want something reliable, tough, and ready for whatever the schedule throws at you, it's the 2026 Sierra 1500 Pro Graphite Crew Cab in a nutshell, and it can be yours for 0% financing for 72 months with a factory 2-inch lift, off-road suspension, and a 5.3-liter V8. This is one ready for anything truck. Don't miss out. Get to your local GMC dealer and take advantage of Truck Month before it ends. The one and only IC Dave joins us now, getting ready for Game 2. Dave, what's up, man? It's great to have you back on WST.
Thanks, Huss. Good to be back. Good to be joining you. Yeah, it's a lot of excitement downtown Winnipeg. Moose and the Admirals Game 2 tonight. And the Moose were on the ice this morning and seemed very confident, even after their loss. They lost 4-1, obviously an empty net goal, but a couple nights ago. But they didn't really they seemed to handle it. They seemed to like their game. They obviously outshot the Admirals pretty steadily. Knew that they need to get better quality shots, a little bit more difficult in terms of Matt Murray facing, the ones he's facing. But they overall didn't seem like a group that was panicking, despite the fact that it's now a do-or-die game too.
No one's watched more Moose hockey this year outside of you than maybe Mark Morrison. Was, in a lot of ways, did we get the full Moose experience in game number 1? A team that works their asses off, that rolls 4 lines, that generated a lot, but lacks a little bit of finish, and, against a team that was doing, I thought, a really good job in front of their own net and blocking shots. Like, there was 43 on net. I don't know what the attempts were, but it was significant. I mean, was that sort of a encapsulation of the 25-26 Moose in one playoff game?
Yes, I think it's a fair way of summing it up, Huss, because if you look at this team, I mean, their biggest kind of impediment has been scoring, which is kind of confusing based on the players they have on this roster. And it's, as you said it, like, people sometimes get upset. They're like, oh, these prospects are on line 4. It's literally just the way I write the lines sometimes, or the way the team writes the lines. They all roll out the same. There's literally not, again, we don't unfortunately have time on ice available, but I would be shocked if it was a vast difference between some of these guys, some of these lines, because of the way the Moose roll them out. But at the end of the day, this is what you look at with this team, is that sometimes their inability to score and not take advantage of opportunities. And I think of Brad Lambert ripping a shot off the post, Lucas Wallen having a couple of really good chances in front, David Gustafson having a great chance late in the game to bring them within 1. So, I mean, they're just not burying those opportunities. They were getting them, which obviously is the coaching staff would be happy with. And again, it was a little scrambly. And, when we talked to guys who have been there before, Jared Anderson Dolan, we spoke with this morning after skating, he just said, like, we were a little scrambly in that first 5 to 7 minutes, first kind of runs through, and then we kind of settled in and we got going. Unfortunately for them, they were already down.
Let's fire up the Clean Line lines for our friends over at Clean Line Plumbing, Heating, and Electrical. Of course, Clean Line is your one-stop shop for Winnipeg residential and commercial plumbing, heating, and electrical services, and they've got you covered 24/7 with emergency services. Remember the number 204-500-2001 whenever you're in a jam. And of course, Dave, shout out to you, because you are the most reliable person for the lines covering the team. Yeah. We've got Gus in between Walker, Dewar, and Shaw. Danny Zhilkin with Figemo and Jad. Parker Ford, who jumped on the program with us yesterday, with DiGiuseppe and Barlow, who's had a real nice end to his season. And then Yeager and Lambert coming back along with Lucas Wallin. The big addition for the Moose, and maybe we can start off with this, how important this is, getting Elias back. He'll be with Isaac Phillips on the top pair. You've got Bauer and Sautner, Clegg and Anhorn, and it looks like Milic will go back to it. We'll get to the forwards in a second, but the importance of Elias, it seemed like they really missed a Villy or an Elias just in a puck-moving aspect, despite the amount of pucks they ended up getting on Murray.
Yeah, no, I mean, adding a player of his caliber back in 32 games in the NHL, obviously had the concussion protocol that he was entered into April 2nd against the Dallas Stars based on that Jason Robertson reverse hit, which we asked him about 2 days ago, Huss. He had no problem with the hit, just said he wasn't ready and he'll be aware next time. But they took their time. They made sure that he was good to go. He obviously wore yellow non-contact when he first skated with the team a couple days ago, and then was in contact yesterday. And that's really what they wanted to see, to make sure that he was going to be good to go. He as much told us when we spoke to him yesterday. He said, I'm the first period might be a little tough because it's been 3 weeks since he last played, but he's going to be ready to go. And, for folks who are saying, like, is this a downgrade for him to have to play AHL hockey after being in the NHL? Not at all. I mean, it was like, Tyrell Bauer described it as like Christmas and New Year's all wrapped up into one. These guys love playing hockey, and they love playing hockey that matters. And so for Salamonson to come in now and play on this team and have a real big role with Isaac Phillips, a guy he was paired with for a lot of this season and really well. They really performed significantly for the Moose. So for me, Huss, his return is significant, and his ability to play with the same pace that he had at the NHL level, because we know how different the games are, right? The NHL is a lot more orderly. The NHL can be a lot more scrambling. Mark Morrison, the head coach of the Moose, was asked about that today, and he said, obviously sometimes it takes a little bit of time to get adjusted to it, but he thinks that Salamonson is going to have no problems. Yeah, well, and Salamonson also allows them to kind of quiet things down a little bit from, and just have that calm, reliable presence on the blue line. And yeah, I'm with you. I mean, a guy like that, he wants to play, any opportunity to get into playoff games with a team that he battled with for the majority of the season. Obviously, a guy's going to jump at that spot. As far as the forward lines, I was just talking with Ken, and I mentioned this yesterday. The guy that really jumped out to me was Lucas Wallen. I mean, he had... Mm-hmm. And it wasn't just the fact that he was always around the net and seemingly, in places where, he had 5 shots on goal. It was the level of fight he had in battles and in players that were sometimes bigger than him that really stood out. Kind of a line that you can't help but look. You'd think it's Brad Lambert, it's Braden Yeager that get all the attention. He really stood out. So just thoughts on what you see from him so far through now, I guess, 7 games in the American League. And as far as this Moose lineup tonight, is there a line or player or two that you think they really need to step up if they want to get to Sunday? Well, I'll start with Lucas because, he came in and you weren't really certain. We don't know, of course, the college signees. We don't know really much about them because we're not paying attention to them, generally speaking, during the year. And so I didn't really know much about him or Davis Burnside or Lucas Gustafson when the Jets signed or the Moose signed them to contracts. But yeah, Lucas is a strong guy, a responsible player, kind of a 200-foot guy, but he's a digger. And when you look at Yeager and Lambert, what does their line kind of need is that almost an Alex Iafallo type, if you will, thinking about Scheifele and Connor. So you have Lucas Wallen, and to me, he's that right off the first shift, Huss, like that. You were at the game. You saw him deliver that. He chipped it in and then laid the hit on LaRue and just sent him flying. And that to me really kind of showed that there's nothing, the stage isn't too big for him. And he's an older guy, obviously, having played college hockey, but talk about a guy who's ready for do or die. The college hockey guys know all about the do or die scenario. So this isn't really impacting him, which is something we talked about with him yesterday. But I was really impressed with him. I named him one of the stars of the game because I thought he was probably the most notable Moose player. I thought Brad Lambert actually had a really good game. I thought that whole line was effective. They made some nice plays, and you could see one of the things we've been talking about is the idea of Yeager and Lambert and Salamonson, obviously to a lesser degree because we haven't seen him in a game, coming back to the AHL and playing with pace and maintaining what they kind of had at the NHL level here at the AHL level. So, that line to me has been really good. The thing is, Huss, any one of these lines can be dangerous. And that's the thing. You haven't really been, it's not a one-line team where you're like, hey, this line has to deliver or else the Moose are hooped. It's really, you look at the Moose and you say, any one of these 4 lines can deliver. The Barlow line, with Ford and DiGiuseppe, I really like the way Colby Barlow has played, and obviously the 4 goals in his last 4 games and 5 of his last 8. It looks good, but it's really just all the other things that Colby Barlow, who a lot of people were writing off, and I'm like, you're not writing off a kid who was drafted 3 years ago. You're not writing him off yet. He's first-year pro. He's going to take some time to adjust to the pro game, but since I want to say that game in Belleville, I think he had in Belleville, he reeled off 7 shots for the Moose. And he was really effective. And since then, you see his biggest thing is get the puck, take 3 hard strides. And since he's been doing that, he's been much more effective. His pace has increased, and he's getting to the net. And he's getting his shot away. And what's his biggest weapon is his shot. So I'd look for that line because Parker Ford, to me, is a playoff type of guy. He's the kind of grinder you'd want in playoffs. And DiGiuseppe, obviously a Calder Cup champion with Abbotsford last year. So he knows what it takes to succeed at this level. Dave, I hope that you will be spending a lot of time on a legal curve tomorrow morning talking about Game 3, Sunday afternoon at 2 p.m. But what else is planned tomorrow on the big show when you get together with the big brains of a legal curve? Well, it's just the Ginsburg and Minuk experience. We've gotten rid of Drew for tomorrow's show, so it'll just
Uprising.
be
Uprising in the troops.
Exactly.
I like it.
Exactly. So it'll just be Ez and I. And look, we haven't really had a chance to debrief on the Arneal and Shovel Day Off pressers, so we're going to talk about that. We're going to have our good friend and yours, Paulie Edmonds, join us for the first part of the show, and then we'll talk some playoff hockey. We got Scott Burnside joining us as well, so we'll go around the NHL eventually, but of course, Jets Moose to start the show.
9 a.m. You know where to be, folks. Illegal Curve on YouTube, and check out the site at illegalcurve.com with all of Dave's great work covering the Manitoba Moose. You, my friend, have a great weekend. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, House. Appreciate it. See you guys.
Good stuff. All right, there is Dave Minuk joining us on the show. Again, if you want to go to the game tonight, check out the link in the description. We've got a great link for the friends and family rate for tickets for WST listeners to get in the building. And if it does go to a deciding game 3 on Sunday, you can use that link as well and get your seats for that. All right, we are going to get into some NFL draft talk. Busy night last night for 32 NFL teams. Lee Hacksaw Hamilton joins us next on Winnipeg Sports Talk. WST would like to thank our friends at Cleanline Plumbing, Heating, and Electrical for their support of Winnipeg Sports Talk throughout the Jet season. When we're doing the Winnipeg Jet lines, we do it with the gang at Cleanline, who are the leaders in Winnipeg residential and commercial plumbing, heating, and electrical services. Your one-stop shop with over 40 years of experience. And like the captain, Adam Lowry, has the back of his teammates, Cleanline has yours with 24/7 emergency services. So when you're in a jam at any time of the day, Cleanline has you covered. 204-500-2001 is the number. Write that one down, 204-500-2001 for 24/7 emergency services from the official plumbing service of the Winnipeg Jets. You can find out more online at cleanline.ca. Spring is here, and it's time to get down to Winnipeg Sports Superstore Royal Sports at 750 Pembina Highway to get ready for it. The bike shop is open with incredible selection of bikes, including e-bikes that you'll want to check out. Of course, baseball season is here, all the equipment ready to go for the season, and tons of Toronto Blue Jays merchandise. All the soccer players are getting loaded up with the best selection of boots and unis around, not to mention tons of World Cup merch of Canada and the rest of the world just in time for kickoff. And for all you NFL fans, the draft is coming up in just a couple weeks. The NFL draft hats are all up on the wall, and for the first time in a while, they're actually really nice. So you can pop down there. Get ready for spring, the World Cup, the NFL draft, Blue Jays season, and more at Royal Sports. 50 years plus, family owned and operated at 750 Pembina Highway. Much more to come on WST, but first, a big shout out to our friends at Winnipeg's favorite local brewery, Little Brown Jug.
You train day in and day out, learning new techniques, approaching new concepts, and living out the thrill of achieving your goals. Building a craft beer is no different. While you spend your hours on the ice, we spend ours here, brewing our trademark beer. Again, and again. Here's to pushing the status quo and challenging ourselves to build something memorable. 1919 by Little Brown Jug.
All right, round 2 and 3 of the NFL draft goes tonight. The rest of the action tomorrow. Without Mike Vrabel, we'll go for rounds 4 through 7. Well, let's find out what happened in round number 1 with the guru himself, Lee Hacksaw Hamilton. Saw, you on the mend? How you feeling?
Yeah, and good afternoon, Canada. We're making progress. I did not sign up to be a demolition derby driver, so this auto accident has kind of knocked me back a little bit, but I'll sit in that chair and cover the NFL draft and write about it and talk about it with you and across Canada. So busy time. Hey, here's a question. Do you have the toll-free 800 number for the guy who has the patent for the 48-hour day? I want you to follow me on this. So tonight we got Padre baseball in Mexico coming up with this international series with Arizona. And tonight we got the Lakers in Houston. Tonight we got Edmonton and Anaheim. And tonight we got Montreal versus Tampa Bay. And by the way, tonight the second and third round of the draft. How am I supposed to cover all that simultaneously? I don't have 5 TVs in my house.
That I was about to say, we need a special Hacksaw dome put up with 5, 6 different screens so it can all be happening. Let's focus in on the draft. No suspense whatsoever. Indiana Heisman Trophy winner Fernando Mendoza was the prize of the draft. He goes to the Las Vegas Raiders to be their franchise quarterback of the future. Then it got interesting. Lee, was there a big winner or two from last night's draft from where you're sitting?
Well, in terms of the Raiders, I'll just give you a bullet point comment. That's a nice pick. That's down road. Luckily, they're renting Kirk Cousins to be the quarterback. The most important aspect is what happens in the second round and the third round with the Raiders. Can they fix the rest of the deficiencies they have in their offensive front? And did they spend wisely? Because they spend enormous amounts of money, Hustler, on defense in free agency. Are those players going to be good, or did they misspend their dollars? So the jury really has to be out, because Mendoza is not going to play at the onset of the season. So what they do in picks 2 and 3 is critically important. I thought the draft really would take a weird spin based on what happened with the third pick. I thought Arizona held a real domino. If the domino fell one way, then the rest of the draft would fall a different way. Arizona got a great player in Jeremiah Love. But at the end of the day, they got holes everywhere. They don't really have a quarterback. They really don't have an offensive line. I think they're deficient in defense. So there's a raging debate. As good as Jeremiah Love, the Notre Dame running back, is, Hustler, at the end of the day, should Arizona have traded back and stockpiled a ton of picks? Because a lot of people really like the Love. So I think that's unique. I thought Tennessee reached at 4 for that wide receiver. I think that was the right guy. I thought the Giants hit the jackpot with what they did by getting Reese, the blitz specialist linebacker. I don't understand Kansas City at all. They've had a rotten off season by divesting themselves of their entire secondary and some pass rush people. And then I thought they reached what they got with where they were drafting at that point in time with Delane. Good player, yeah, but you could have had him at 20. So there's some people that, to me, it was just really strange. In terms of who the winners were, I think the Jets eventually, they wound up with 3 first-round draft picks, and every one of those kids can play. And Andrew, keep in mind, they got 3 number ones next year in the year of the quarterback. So I thought the Jets did well, the Giants did well. You may not like Jerry Jones. I'll tell you what, though. What they've done stockpiling the draft defensively, Caleb Downs is the most complete player on that draft board. And for him to slip as far as he did, that's a real good get for Dallas. And I think Washington, based on what they got with the rush linebacker, Sonny Styles, added to what they did in free agency, because that's a piece of the offseason equation. I think Washington did very well. So just at the top of the draft board, surprises and maybe some mistakes, and then obviously a bunch that I think hit the floor running, and now we move into the second round.
Yeah, it's funny you bring up the Chiefs, because I have seen kind of mixed reviews on what they did. I kind of get it. And listen, I will give them the benefit of the doubt on their scouting staff picking corners. I mean, they were the ones that went and got Trent McDuffie at the end. So, I mean, there was a bunch of talent in there. This guy was the guy they thought was number one. He was number one on both boards. I didn't love giving up a 3rd and 5th round pick to move up to 6 to get it. But by all accounts, and I've even seen a couple Saints fans in the chat saying, you jumped up and took our guy. He, of course, went to LSU. The Saints were hot on him, and they obviously felt they needed to do what they had to do to get him. So hopefully they're proven right. Track record pretty good on picking guys in the secondary. It's the Peter Woods pick, who they grabbed at 29 out of, I believe, Clemson, of a guy that's tape in 25 maybe wasn't as good as it was in 24. I will say this, if you're a defensive tackle coming into Kansas City, you do benefit from playing on the other side of one of the most dominant forces on the line in Chris Jones. So he's not going to get double teams, but he's going to have to make the most of that opportunity. And those are 2 big holes that Kansas City had. What was the pick or two that made you wonder what the heck are they doing? And maybe we can start with the Rams, because the Rams at 13, taking Alabama quarterback Ty Simpson far earlier than anyone had him mocked. Listen, I get it. Quarterback's the most important position, but the obvious question, Lee, is this team seems ready to compete to win a Super Bowl right now. I know Matt Stafford is a little older, but it sure seemed like Sean McVay might have sort of preferred if they got a difference maker to help them right now as opposed to a succession plan for a Hall of Fame quarterback.
Well, the question is, win right now or are you building for the future? And right now is the most important thing because Stafford is on the clock. They needed a wide receiver. They needed an offensive lineman. There were a lot of offensive tackles that were available. Offensive guards are available at that point in the draft. And I just thought it was a really strange reach. Now, Simpson may turn out to really be a good quarterback. He may be a good game manager, makes a lot of plays. The press conference was kind of weird. McVay was a little bit standoffish late last night in the press conference, sitting next to Lester Snead. A lot of people read between the lines and saying he didn't really like this pick. They never told Stafford that they were going to do this, which is a bit of a surprise because in the past they've alerted him to when they were going to make a significant transaction, and they did not do this. So I wonder if this was a Snead pick over McVay. At the end of the day, there's an intangible story here. You know, Puka Nacua just came out of rehab, and he was very bizarre the last 3 months in behavioral stuff off the field and incidents and lawsuits. And I just wonder what's going on with him, whether it's money, whether it's posse, whether it's immaturity, whether it's concussions. I mean, he was not right, the stuff that was happening out here on the West Coast. And I thought you got a chance to get an insurance policy either for the future, because Davante Adams has a lot of mileage on him, or if something else happens with Nacua and they bypass the wide receiver. Simpson could turn out to be good. He could be a good game manager. Maybe he's the right guy for the system. But they're right on the doorstep of winning this thing. And to take a guy that was ranked 49th and you draft him, where they draft him, 13th or something, just, I mean, that's, to me, yeah, it really opened my eyes. I said, wow. But they've been bold. Les Snead does not subscribe to the book about how to build teams. So it's going to be fascinating going forward.
Any other big head scratchers from round one from your perspective?
Well, I think Miami really underachieved. They got a bunch of weird draft picks. I thought that was really strange. I didn't like Minnesota's pick. And they desperately needed defensive front help, but they picked a defensive tackle who's inconsistent and has had 2 foot surgeries. And foot issues, to me, that's a little bit of a red flag. And I was very disappointed in Pittsburgh because they desperately needed wide receiver help, regardless of whoever the quarterback's going to be. And they had a chance to trade up, and they didn't do it. And they had a chance to go get offensive linemen. They could have traded up there, and they're still doing business like it's 1978. They're just not really aggressive on draft day. And to take an offensive lineman who's really raw, who's never really polished, and they got offensive tackle problems with a former number 1 draft pick that's now had a setback from neck surgery. They needed a wide receiver, or they needed a different type of tackle, and I just didn't think that Pittsburgh did that. So it's just, to me, it's fascinating.
On Pittsburgh, I'm not sure if you caught this, but a wild. So Dallas was on the clock at 20.
Yes.
And I guess Pittsburgh was pretty confident they weren't taking a receiver. They were on the phone with USC receiver Mekhi Lemon, telling him that they were about to pick him at 21 when the Eagles called him, and he didn't pick up because he's on the phone with Pittsburgh. They're telling him that he's going at 21, and then the pick is announced that the Eagles have jumped up to take him. So they got sniped. And listen, offensive tackles, you can't go wrong with strong, solid, great offensive linemen. I get it, but you kind of nailed it. With what the needs are for Pittsburgh right now, the fact that they had to pivot off of what they were planning on doing and didn't even go to Casey Concepcion, like the next receiver that was selected, I think shows you that they sort of had the rug pulled out from under them while they were hosting the draft.
Well, I've been inside war rooms. I kind of know what goes on behind the scenes. And in the week leading up to the draft, they will run through computers what you think the people right in front of you are probably going to do. There's all kinds of computerized stuff that they can access. Nobody would have thought Philadelphia would have taken another wide receiver because Philadelphia's already picked up 4 wide receivers in the offseason with the impending trade of A.J. Brown. So this one kind of came out of the clear blue sky. I'd be a little concerned about Lemon. He's had a really good season at USC. He's a grinder. I think he's a hell of a player. But boy, I tell you what, he's freaky in terms of mental approach to things, responses to things. I don't know what it is with him from a persona standpoint, but he didn't interview well. He turned some people off. I don't know if you saw his interview last night at the draft. I mean, he was just really kind of off center. So I don't know what Philadelphia wound up getting. If he's a head case or this is just a shtick or an actor. This is ego out of control. I mean, they're going to get rid of a diva in A.J. Brown, and you brought in this guy who kind of acts like a diva. Wow.
So now as we get into the 2 and 3, I mean, there's still a lot of great players on the board. But what do you think the toughest decision one of the teams was made of? Was it Arizona deciding whether to get a tackle or take this phenom Jeremiah Love, or was there another team that you thought was kind of really bent over?
Love is a superb person, and he's a really great player. But that's awful high for a running back that takes a lot of punishment. And this is an Arizona franchise. It's really devoid. You look at their depth chart and you say, you're kidding me. They could have traded that pick back and maybe gotten another number 1, another number 2, maybe somebody else's flip-flop of picks. They didn't do it. So I thought that was strange. I thought the one that really hit a home run was Baltimore in the middle of the first round. I mean, they got Ione. Just a mauler of an offensive guard tackle from Penn State. He's a really good football player, and they've had problems there. But in terms of, we go to the second round, keep an eye on this whole quarterback storyline. Garrett Nussmeier at LSU had a great junior season. He had an injury his senior season, and nobody talked about. He was hot and cold, played well, didn't play well. He had a cyst, and they just did an offseason surgical procedure. And all his workouts, I was told, have really amped up. So somebody's going to get, I think, a pretty competitive, fierce guy, probably in the second round. Also going to be intrigued to see, for some reason, Carson Beck, the ex-Georgia Miami Hurricane quarterback, who's had a long career in college, he's evidently worked out well for teams. But for him to go in a second round, that's kind of a reach because he turned the ball over a lot in college. And the wild card one, and I don't know if this is possible, but if it were me, if I were king, I'd give Diego Pavia the address for the Canadian Football League team because I think that kid, the Vanderbilt quarterback, I think he would excel north of the border. He's just too small to play in the NFL. But that being said, Doug Flutie at 5'9" had a nice career this side of the border. But I think Pavia, I'll be intrigued to see if someone takes a shot on him maybe on the third day of the draft. The kid should go to Canada because I think the kid with his persona and his athletic ability and his brass to put the ball into coverage, I think he'd do really well north of the CFL. So, and there are a lot of really good players that are going to be on the draft board in the second round. There's a whole bunch of offensive linemen that are still out there. There might be a tackle that can be converted into a guard. So draft is absolutely phenomenal to participate in. It's really kind of cool.
Hey, you mentioned we baseball, you got the football, NBA playoffs, but just before we go, I have to ask you, are the Ducks live in the series against Edmonton? The Pond will be rocking tonight for Game 3, and they have done what no one's been able to do all year, and that's keep Connor McDavid off the board for 2 games. The Oilers never won a game all season when he didn't get a point. They're 1-1 heading back to SoCal.
Well, that's one storyline. I think the bigger storyline for the 4th year in a row, Edmonton has not solved their goaltending problems. They made the trade to get Tristan Jarry from Pittsburgh, and he got hurt. Connor Ingram, to me, I don't think is really trustworthy in traffic. I think he flops. And I tell you what, as great as their blue line is from an offensive skill standpoint, Hustler, I don't like them around the net. They're sloppy. They turn the puck over. Guys are wide open in front of a naked goaltender. Edmonton, to me, is just at the back end isn't playing really well. And the Ducks, tell you what, if Edmonton did not play the body, if they don't slow these dudes down at center ice and just complete your damn check, if you're going to let Christian Gauthier and these guys roar into the Edmonton zone, you got problems. And I'll tell you what, Edmonton has not played physical force hockey on a consistent basis. If they do, they bang them, they'll slow them down. But at this point, they've let Gauthier and those guys free wheel. Gauthier's got 43 goals as a 20-year-old? That's absolutely amazing. The Ducks have got some other young kids led by Leo Carlson, so it's an interesting series. And I am so enthralled at Montreal, Tampa Bay. The Bully Bolts. How about Montreal doing what they did, beating them once down there, scaring the hell out of them in the other game, and now this sucker goes back to Bell Center. And I'll tell you what, Tampa may be a physical force bully team, but I'll tell you, Josh Anderson and those second and third and fourth line guys, they're not taking any crap from anybody wearing the color blue. That's going to be a great hockey game. And I wasn't sure that Montreal could arrive this year. And again, they're two undersized goal scorers. Have just not been able to find the net yet. Caulfield and obviously Suzuki, because they've been banged down a lot. But boy, Montreal has stood tall, and that goaltender has just been spectacular. I'll tell you, the NHL playoffs have just been rocking. And the TV ratings, I know it's a religion in Canada. The TV ratings here are an all-time high for the NHL this entire season, because all the games of the playoffs are now on TV on all the different channels we have down here. So it's just fascinating to see what's happened.
Well, it is going to be a great weekend of playoff hockey. There's no doubt about that. Keep your eye. You want a war? Check out that Dallas-Minnesota series when they get back at it tomorrow. Those are two good teams going at it. We will look forward to maybe a little more than usual at LeeHacksawHamilton.com over the course of the weekend. And, of course, folks, check out Lee's YouTube channel, Lee Hacksaw Hamilton, and give it a follow as well. Have a great weekend and enjoy the rest of the draft, Lee.
You enjoy your 1919s. I'll talk to you next Friday. Thanks, man.
You bet. Take care. There is the one and only Lee Hacksaw Hamilton. All right, folks, we have marbles registration, which is open. So throw it in there in the chat, ! marbles. We will get to that in just a minute. Let's do a quick look at what's happening at the Zurich Classic of New Orleans with our Breezy Bend golf report, checking in on the PGA Tour. Shout out to our friends at Breezy Bend. Going to be opening in a few days and looking forward to a great year. If you are looking for a great long-term home for you and your family at one of Winnipeg's top private courses, check out Breezy Bend. Incredible changes to the course over the last number of years, improvements to the clubhouse, the facility, amazing social times there, and great programs for women, for juniors, and more. breezybend.ca for more information on Breezy, 895-7205. Oh, the Fitzpatrick brothers had quite a day today. They went 7 under in the alt shot. So Matt and Alex, who were the favorites, are just 2 strokes back of the leaders, Davis Thompson and Austin Eckroat. Canadian content, a Canadian tag team of the Adams, Svensson, and Hadwin. They are 4 back at 13 under par. We've also got Canadian AJ Ewert with Casey Jarvis. They're at 11, tied for 16. And our guy, Sudar Shen, Yelimir Yarju, started off teaching himself the golf at the Golf Dome in Winnipeg. He and Ryan Gerard are 10 under par right now, T27. Hasn't gone as well for Mac Hughes and Taylor Pendrith. They're 1 over today. 9 under par for the day. Shout out to our friends at Breezy Bend. Cannot wait to get out there in the next few days and start swinging them for the first time this year. Also want to thank our friends at Aikens Lake Wilderness Lodge. Speaking of great things to do this summer, I will be out there later on in May. I cannot wait. If you're looking for a world-class fly-in fishing opportunity where you can be on the water in less than 2 hours from the city of Winnipeg, Aikens is the spot. World-class fishing, even more world-class hospitality from the Aikens team. Find out more on the summer and availability at Aikens Lake today at aikenslake.com. All right, let's get Michael Remis back in here. We got to get to the Cool Bet lines and talk about this game tonight. Rio, did you pay at all any attention to the NFL draft, or that's not really your thing?
I got the alerts on my phone after every pick, and I saw the Chiefs made a big trade. I watched Sean McVay's facial expressions during the press conference.
Didn't seem that fired up.
Didn't seem fired up at all. So I loosely paid attention. I was watching playoff hockey and doing some stuff with my computer here. So no, I didn't follow it too closely. I'll probably forget about these guys' names until September when I'm preparing for fantasy.
As we get over to Coolbet, there are some props for rounds 2 and 3. There's a list of players available at 33 overall for the next pick. You can get in on that. The position of the 33rd overall pick, will it be defense minus 189, offense plus 145? What's interesting, those two quarterbacks that Lee just mentioned, Carson Beck and Garrett Nussmeier, the question is, will they go in round 2? Contrary to what Hacksaw's take, there seems to be a lot of steam with Carson Beck. And listen, very accomplished college quarterback, won a ton of games. He's now minus 156 to be drafted in round 2. While Nussmeier, who was thought to be last year a first-round pick, he's plus 220 to be drafted in round 2. So if you do like focusing on the quarterbacks, there's a couple of props there. But let's get to the playoffs for tonight. 3 big games, starting with the Lightning and the Montreal Canadiens in the Raucous Bell Center. Tampa minus 120, Montreal plus 102. Remo, this is a huge test for the Habs, but I'm kind of feeling like this crowd's going to give them that extra level tonight. And I think I'm going to take the home team, the Habs.
I'm excited to see the crowd, the intro, and the big thing is I've seen parroted on the NHL, stats they send out. What is it, like 60% or so time the winner of Game 3 wins the series. Something to watch for how key this game is. Montreal could really take advantage. Yeah, it's 66% of the time the team that wins Game 3 wins the series. So it's a big one for Montreal. They're getting some stuff from their depth. As Hacksaw said, like Josh Anderson, where's this guy during the season? But that's why the playoffs are so great. You don't know who is going to make an impact in a short series. But they are going to need their big guns to show up with a couple tonight against Tampa.
Yeah, and then, of course, you've got Edmonton. Speaking of big guns to show up, I mean, it's crazy that Connor McDavid has been silent through 2 games. And, in fact, never mind silent, a negative. I mean, that giveaway that he made late in the 3rd period on that goal for the Ducks was something that you don't expect from the best player in the world. The Oilers minus 133 tonight in Anaheim. Ducks plus 113. I expect a big game from McDavid. You want to get on some McDavid props? I think it's go zone on that.
Has a player ever been minus 769 for a point in a playoff game? That's crazy. It is interesting to note the total on this game, 7. The Ducks not exactly known for the defense. Neither are their Oilers, and they all have high scoring talent like Draisaitl, like McDavid, Carlson, Cutter Gauthier. So this is an exciting series with exciting teams, but the Oilers, got to find a way to play more structured defense, and tough to win when you get a big fat 0 on the score sheet from McDavid. So is he injured? Like, how healthy is he? You got that knee collision, was going around testing it out.
I'll say this, that play that he made, like the blind pass on the power play that led to the shorty, was, to me, a play of a guy that just was not himself. I mean, normally he has the puck. He's not giving it away like that at all. Never mind blindly behind him. So, big thing. If you're looking at the props over at Coolbet on this game, one thing that I just locked in, over 1.5 power play goals. The Duck power play has been eating. They're at 60% right now. And I have no doubt that the Oiler power play will get going. So plus money on over 1.5 power play goals. I'm in on that. And if you're looking at a multi-point game for Connor McDavid, over 1.5 is minus 118. The other game tonight, Vegas and Utah. I know we'll be locked in on the opening of the Bell Center, and that is guaranteed, but I think it's going to be a madhouse in Salt Lake tonight as well, as the Utah Mammoth play their first playoff game against the Vegas Golden Knights. This has basically been a pick 'em all day. Now Vegas, the slightest of favorites. But I actually, both of the short home dogs tonight, I think are pretty intriguing, at least in those first two games, Montreal and Utah at -105. You got to lean on that one in game 3?
I was on Utah coming in, and they almost got it done in game 1. A lot of buzz, a lot of excitement for the first game there. I don't know if you saw their giveaway, or there's a lot of Vegas fans in Salt Lake. They kind of claim Salt Lake territory, before Utah had a team. And they're saying, hey, come, trade in your Vegas jersey for a Mammoth jersey. Massive line there. People are excited. And that's the great thing about having the playoffs in the summer or in the spring. You can go outside, have your watch parties, have your outdoor parties. And I'm pumped to see what it's going to be like. We'll see the Zamoth in full force, of course.
Fake Zamboni.
But Utah, again, hated the Coyotes. But they are so lucky to have latched on to Ryan Smith as an owner. I don't know if you've seen the videos of him walking around at the tailgates, interacting with fans. He's tweeting out, who's the super fan that wants to come in my suite tonight? This guy's invested in the team, invested in the facility. That's what every team wants, an owner like Ryan Smith. So,
have you seen, speaking of Utah super fans, have you seen that guy
on Instagram?
Yeah, with the long hair from it looks like a barn, and he just mother F's everyone in support of the Utah Mammoth. I don't know how that guy keeps ending up. I guess I follow enough hockey related accounts, enough hockey stuff that he comes in. That'd be hilarious to see him be the guy that got the invite from Ryan Smith for the super fan to get into the building.
Oh, man. Yeah, well, hey, here's the tweet. At Ryan Qualtrics on X, I'm hosting 8 Mammoth fans in my suite on Friday for our first home playoff game ever. Who should go and why? So maybe if you want to submit that guy's name.
1.8K responses for that one.
I don't know if he's got to do that manually or he's got an assistant or uses AI for that one.
Probably AI. If you want a 3-gamer for tonight, I'm rolling with the Habs at +102, the Mammoth at -105, and the Oilers. Comes out to just south of 5-1, or 6-1, I should say, at +591. In case you're wondering, games tomorrow, Canes -128 favorites to ice the Senators. They'll have no Jake Sanderson. That is tough luck for Ottawa. Ottawa +109. The Wild are -135 favorites to even their series at 2 against Dallas. Dallas is +115. And the Flyers are -118 favorites to get the brooms out and sweep the Pittsburgh Penguins. 2 days off for Buffalo and Boston. That one's basically a pick'em. Bruins a very slight -112 favorite in the game that's scheduled for 1 p.m. on Sunday. There are your cool bet lines for today. Hey, you mentioned watch parties. Should mention, shout out to the Raptors, Reem. Jurassic Park was rocking last night, and despite being home dogs, they got a big win over the Cleveland Cavaliers to get back into their first-round series.
Yeah, admittedly, haven't paid too much attention to the NBA playoffs, but nice to see the Raptors getting on the board 2-1. We'll see how that goes. I did see, is it true Steve Kerr retired? Is that real, or did I get fake news there?
Is that just something that just kind of...
I could be wrong.
Just kind of broke? Or did you get senteled?
You know what? I don't even know. I might have seen it on Facebook. And you know what? You can't trust anything on there anymore. So I'm sorry. I take that back.
I think there's a lot of comments like he could leave.
Yeah, a lot of speculation.
I don't believe that is...
Okay, I take it back.
And I mean, they're still playing, right? So
they are? Okay, I'm not on the board on the basketball at this time, but the Raptors, really haven't had... Oh, they are done?
Yeah, the Warriors. I think they were in the play-in.
So, again, a lot of speculation, but the Raptors, I remember being so dialed in 2019 when they had that awesome, team, Kyle Lowry, Kawhi Leonard, and championship aspirations. It's amazing how they've taken just a step back since, and you know, remember how we were so outraged them always getting the Saturday afternoon first game? Seems like, I don't know, we haven't really been on top of it like we used to because they won, and I'm not sure what it is.
It's a good question. I mean, especially this year with all these Canadian teams, including in Toronto, out. But yeah, I mean, I think they were probably a little bit more competitive, and the thought was that the team was maybe off of it. They had a great season, though. I mean, they didn't have to play in the play-in. They're legitimately in the playoffs, and had a great win. They are back at it. They've got 2 days off before their next game. Raptors and Cavs will get going at noon. So they've got the early game.
Yeah.
In the quadruple header.
Classic NBA, like putting, in every playoffs, the Houston Texans getting Saturday at 3, the Raptors getting Saturday at noon, always for TV.
Carolina's that team in the NHL.
Well, they're playing Saturday afternoon, aren't they? Ottawa, Carolina?
Oh, yeah. Well, and think about the way it started. I mean, the first weekend, the old Texans, the AFC South spot in the wild card weekend, that's the Carolina Hurricanes right now. And, I mean, they're playing the Ottawa Senators. Not exactly the star quality of both. You know, I was doing putting some stuff together for Chud's Power Polls, and I was thinking about the most disappointing teams and or players in the playoffs so far, specifically to the NHL. And, Remis, I'm thinking like, okay, obviously, by the way, shout out to the guys at Chud's. I know Derminator's got a nice trip this week. I'm not sure whether he's back for the marble race today, but get on down to Chud's up in Gimli. Incredible bikes, ATVs, boats, RVs as well. Summer is pretty much here. Well, spring at least is officially here. So now's a good time to get down. But I mean, I think Pittsburgh, certainly the most disappointing team, being down 3-0. But, when you're putting together a top 5, I think you have to include maybe at 2, Connor McDavid. And I'm going to put Brady Tkachuk in that group as well, Remis, of teams/players that just have not been up to their normal standards so far this year.
McDavid has to be there with 0 points. For a guy like him, maybe there's injury concerns, and Brady Tkachuk, the penalties, lack of production, not what we thought that we saw. One line that I would put in that as well, but they're up 3-0, is the Carolina top line. Aho, Svechnikov, Jarvis, they've done nothing. It's been all Taylor Hall leading the team, 5 points, Stankoven, 3 goals. It's been that line with Jackson Blake, who had a really nice finish on a pass from Keandre Miller yesterday. They're pretty lucky that, they've got such a great team where your top line can go cold for 3 games and you can still be up 3-0. So I was going to put that on my list of early disappointments.
Yeah, I'm not going to put Thomas Hertl, the Vegas Golden Knights overall on the list, because I think that, Utah's been full marks for, their win and how they're playing. But we were talking to Lee, they're on or off air. Thomas Hertl has gone like 20 games or something like that without a goal. He's got the 1 assist so far. But there are players that, and Dorofeyev as well. I mean, he had almost 40 goals in the regular season. He's been quiet so far. So there's a couple guys on Vegas right now. And Vegas overall, I think, feels like a huge game for Las Vegas if they're going to win this series. Because I really do think that if Utah can get off on a good foot at home and get up 2-1, they'll have the potential of looking at a 3-1 lead. And even with 2 games in the Fortress in the final 7, I think Gary and his boys might be getting tight collars if Utah can get this win tonight. So lots of combinations. Why not question of the day for not Autocorp at Waverly and McGillivray as we get ready to do marbles? Throw in the chat your biggest playoff disappointment so far, whether it be a team, a line, or a player. And we'll have some laughs as we go through that. Easy to do when you're not in the playoffs. We can sort of cast stones about what everyone else isn't doing in the playoffs because we've got a chance to watch the other 16 teams.
Yeah, I mean, they're always going to be who's the biggest clutch performer, who's can't get it done in the playoffs. Those are conversations that are fun to have. And this is a Vegas team. They're a veteran team. You sign Marner, to be the guy. And he had an okay season, not as good as he was the last couple ones. And you trade for Rasmus Andersson, who, really struggled and hasn't totally fit in. And Vegas is kind of, is this their best last chance, to win a Stanley Cup? What is their team going to look like going forward? Because they've traded away so many draft picks and pretty much traded away all their past, future draft picks and draft picks they've already made. So, and Utah is a team that's, young, up and coming, and they've got a number of prospects in the future, like Tidge Aginla. So, very exciting.
They're going to be a problem
Utah.
in this division for a long time. Hey, shout out to my guy, Big Maple, with a super chat. Appreciate you, Maple. He is the guy. And by the way, thank you as well for that 4-banger of winners that we parlayed for UFC Fight Night back in Winnipeg last week. I appreciate that. Maple, if you're getting in on UFC tomorrow over at Cool Bet, tons of finishes for UFC tomorrow. The safest, Hernandez, Montague, Marshall money lines at plus 170. And then Montag by sub and Pilastri inside the distance, plus 1,500 if you want to take a swing with Maple on there. Remo, I'm seeing a lot of action in the chat on the Lock Shop today. I said that, maybe today would be the day that we'd have one of the nasties from Edmonton Sports Talk win for the first time. They've been close, and it seems like YouTube Trev's in the house, Duck Dad's here. I'm sure that Big Uke is in, so let's...
I did see, it's funny, I joked about how it's spring, you can go outside. They're saying it's snowing in Edmonton right now. I think I saw Big Uke write that.
Yeah, Rob Mahoney, are the Pens that disappointing? Yeah, they're very disappointing. I mean, they had home ice. They had a great season. They basically shut it down. Philly barely made the playoffs. They hadn't been in the line. Do you have a big ticket on a Philly sweep? I'd love to see it. I didn't see a lot of people picking Philly beforehand. But even still, just for it, they've gotten sucked into the Philadelphia game. They are totally off from what they normally do, and they've allowed themselves to do that. So, yeah, Pittsburgh, big time disappointing, certainly from where I'm sitting. All right, everyone's in, ! Marbles. Remo, let's get you get Tristan Rivers ready, and I will remind everybody that a week today, Friday night, at the A, which is the Assiniboine Hotel on Portage, the bar. Many of us grew up with insane ragers at that place. Tristan's band is going to be doing a full set of GNR and a full set of AC/DC. So I'm not sure whether KNR and the rest of that crew is going to be out there, but if you're a WSTer and want to have a great time and want to support our own Tristan Rivers music, next Friday night, Remo and I are going. We'll see, maybe Connor will pop by, list, but certainly we'll be there with a bunch of our homies. So we would love to see you there. Mark that down. Friday, May 1st at the A. I think they go on at 10 o'clock. All right, speaking of Tristan Rivers music, let's get the Marbles theme and let's get ready to kick off the weekend.
It's Friday, another week of words gone by. You deserve to treat yourself, maybe an ice cream cake or a bottle of rye. Oh, the whole day in, so lavish you can't deny. Why use effort even for pleasure? Give our love a try. It's time to do a moral race. No one's gonna separate and best to worst.
right. I see my guy Todd Fertani. Yeah, Todd, that is in your hood. You mark that down. The Big A. Charlie Horse, the Big A. I wonder if they have the chairs welded to the floor yet. No, it'll be a good time. It will be definitely a good time. So that should be a lot of fun. All right, Remo, how many marbles? Where are we going today?
Okay, let me just close all my tabs here. 205 marbles, Huss, I did test out the tracks. I got a really good one from our guy Dylan 70.
Oh, good. Dylan 70. I love it. Has he added a few more?
This was a new one. I hadn't tested this one before, so I'm closing the entries. 205, and I'll add.
Yeah, throw me in, please.
I'll add you in all capitals. So I tested it. I really like this one. Let me just paste it in here. But yeah, that was the AC/DC Marble theme song, of course, in honor of Tristan's AC/DC cover band. And AC/DC is playing the stadium, in September? Is that when it is?
I'll be honest. I'd rather see Tristan Rivers do AC/DC songs at the A than go to the stadium to see what's left of AC/DC.
I did see.
Is that a take that will offend people? I hope not. I mean, AC/DC, they haven't had as many retirement tours or end of tours as Motley Crue.
They're playing the stadium this summer as well. I think 4th of July.
That's the Rockin' Thunder, or
the Rockin' with 3 Days Grace, I think is opening. A lot of events here.
Is Vince Neil going to be like Weekend at Bernie's out to the crowd to be able to sing?
There was a lawsuit that Mick Mars sued them, said they played to recording, but I think there's a settlement and he had to take that back. So we'll have to see what kind of performance that is.
Mick Mars, man. Anytime I ever hear the name Mick Mars, I think back to like grade 8, and I had a couple buddies in my class that were like big time headbangers, and they would always have like the rock magazines, like in like Hit Parade or whatever.
Yeah, Circus Magazine.
Yeah, I always remember like the crew was huge, and there was a picture of Mick Mars on the cover of one of these magazines. And it was just Mick Mars, and his quote was, "I'm always horny." And I swear to God, 30 odd years later, I still, whenever the name Mick Mars is mentioned, I'm like, oh yeah, Mick Mars, always horny.
Is that? I gotta find that cover.
Yeah, AI might be able to track it down for you, but yeah, it was either a Hit Parade or Circus or one of those dumb things from back in the day.
Man. That's pretty good.
Yeah, shout out to my guy Shahid Hossein and Leo Coppolo. They were the bangers in my 7 and 8 class. Great guys, very smart young men too, but hilarious dudes, and introduced me to a lot of stuff that I had not really been exposed to before. All right, let's do this race. What's it called? Dylan 70. You got me in there, right?
I got you in all caps. This one is called Calm Fire Race. And I thought it was pretty good. It has a quick ending. You'll see. I was pretty happy with how it played out. So I tested it. I'm trying to pick like only the best tracks here.
Perfect. Oh, Dr. Terry's in the chat. What's going on, Terry? When are we swinging him this year? When's Niagara opening? Is Rob Mahoney having his own personal wine and cheese party in the chat?
Yeah, Rob Mahoney is having a day.
Go take a lap, Rob.
He's having a day. He's like writing hypothetical questions to Lee. I don't know. I don't know what he's still going on in there.
Get some fresh air, buddy. All right, let's do a marble race.
I have it here. We already played the song. So, hey, this is my favorite part of the show where, we get to play the song and then keep talking about whatever we want while people yell at us. What's everyone up to this weekend? I'm going to wash my car finally, although it might snow on Monday.
Yeah, it is. Well, I mean, I'm checking out the Moose game tonight and all the other hockey. I'm actually happy that the 2 games are both late Probably be watching that Habs game on the phone during the hockey game, but and hopefully we'll be able to get to that game at 2:00 on Sunday. Don't forget, in the chat or in the the description, there's that link, friends and family rate for tickets for the game. I think $17. So if you want to grab some last minute seats today, or if there's a game on Sunday, make sure to take advantage of that from WST. All right, here we go. It's another Dylan 70 banger, the Calm Fire Race. Let's drop them and see who our champion for today is. Yes, go EST. A lot of EST support today. We'll see. It's going to happen at some point. Could this be today? I'll seem like a bit of a prophet that I predicted an EST winner. Or could it be? I guess I didn't technically predict it. That would be a little cheesy. I said it could be, though, today. All right, who we got? Big funnel here. Whoa, right through. There's a few. Farmer Brain, great start. I see Big Tyson. Tyson, you're going to have to come all the way over from Transcona to St. James next Friday for the Tristan show. I know you guys will be there. Great start by Farmer Brain. Oh, Royal Sports Greg. Greg, I don't believe, has ever won the marble race. Tyson has won the marble race before. I think Farmer Brain also has. So we've got a couple of former winners and regulars. Royal Sports Greg, a great supporter of ours. Royal's packed right now with stuff. All those cool draft hats, too. All you NFL fans, if you want to get much nicer draft hat this year, Remis, than they've had. They've had a few real abominations the last few years.
Looks like a regular hat.
Yes.
Not trying to do too much. Just make a normal looking hat that you can wear every day.
Look at this. Jerry Beluda. Big lead right now. Ryan Dry in second. Who else is there? Holy Smokes, Farmer Brain. But right now, everyone's just trying to catch up with Jerry. He's into this corkscrew, but as we know from Dylan 70 tracks, there's still much more that we need to get. Oh, somebody just got ejected.
Royal Sports Greg.
Oh, Greg, such a great start.
Bravo, Bry.
Just got. Oh, Bravo, Bry.
Yeah.
Got to hook up with Bravo, Bry. Speaking of great acts, when's Dad Bod playing next? Let us know in the chat. We'll get to a show there. All right. So who is that dropped in there first? That's Jerry. Jerry Beluda still in the lead. Kind of taking his time, though, getting out of this bowl here as he awaits everybody else. All right. Jerry's got company now, and it's Jerry and Ryan. We're both in. Jerry's now out, and now there's company. Who's going to make it through? Jerry's in this big orb. These ones can be quick or they can take you a while, but he is in all alone. First, holy smoly, now in. The big question is who's getting out first into the next two wheels. All right. It looks like it is Chad, Mike, Dan. Oh, who's it going to be? What an end.
What a finish there. Choices TK stealing it. Dan, Jets fan, looked like he was going to win, but fell to fourth.
That was one hell of an entrance. I wasn't ready. I didn't realize that it was just going to go right through those into the end.
Oh, yeah. I should have given you the warning. It went way fast. It went faster in the test run.
I'm just seeing the replay on YouTube right now. Yeah, Choices TK sliding in at the end. Doug McFadzine in two. Daryl M. Winnipeg, 3. Dan Jets fan, 4. Manny Fran, 10-second pause. Look at 22 Canuck. 22 Canuck won a couple of weeks ago. Top 10 performance as well. Cigars for Everyone, Jude. And then whoever was in the payable side of Royal jumping in top 10. Pretty nice bit of work there by Choices TK and a wild track. I mean, there was probably about a dozen different leaders at different times. Let's run down it. Oh, Big Tyson, number 11, and holy smoly, had a nice run. Jerry Beluda right there as well, 11, 12, and 13. We got Bingo Bango there, Frosty Winnipeg. Ryan Dry ended up finishing 21st after being right there. Farmer Brain, keep it rolling, Remo. We can go down the list, show everyone. Radichenka in 20th. What's going on? There's Mark Amp, our Cool Bet winner from last week. Box Pounder, WST Matty. Waiters, what's going on, Waiters? MC Stormy's there. There's Trickstar, Jay LaBoss. I have not seen Hustler at any point. There's Tricky O. John Paul's, not too bad. Maurin. T-Will, MB hockey expert. What's going on, T-Will? There's Donnie Boy. Oh, geez. I finished, but not ahead of very many people. 147 today for me. Jet Oil Tom. And then everybody else that was top roped or did not make it, including, there's Amanda S, 420. Tough one for Amanda. Dr. Terry as well in that group. YEG Sports Talk. Shout out to Trev or whoever's doing it. Speaking of EST, we'll wonder what Hernan and Gager are up to. We'll probably rip over to those guys with a bit of a raid afterwards. Good stuff, everyone. Appreciate you all joining us. I see Box Pounders say, hey, everyone, have a great weekend. Same with you, Duck Dad, and the rest of the crew. And I got burned. I got nostalgia. Yeah, I got burned as well. Tonight, 7 o'clock, that Moose game. Don't forget, ticket link in the description if you're looking to go. Should be. Are you going to the game tonight, Reem?
I'm not going tonight, but I was at the last game, so I'll be following along on Flow Hockey. I will be tuning in, so we will see.
T. Kona Pauly with a last-minute super chat. 1990 bus from T. Kona to a WIT GF for B-Day. Got there for 7, of course. To the A with girlfriend for birthday. Got there for 7, of course. Huge lineup. So go around to front, asking for manager and explain situation. Next thing, she's calling over the bouncer. Next thing I know, I'm scrapping and girlfriend is leaving on bus. LOL.
What a story.
T. Kona Pauly, come out next week. We'll make sure that you're not escorted out by the bouncer. And the good thing is the days, which I'm not sure were good old days, of people lining up to get into the bar at 6:30 p.m. have long since gone the way of the dodo bird. So we'll be able to get in. Their show starts at 10 o'clock next Friday, May 1st. All right, we're spinning to see how many it takes before we get into the top 2.
It's taken me a while. Someone requested the lottery simulator. I know. I'm not counting. Oh, there we go.
There we go.
That was quick.
Boom.
Oh my God.
It's in the cards, people. We are less. What is it? We got about 13 days. 13 days until the draft lottery. Got to figure out what to do. We'll do a draft lottery stream. We can all sweat it out together in the chat of Winnipeg Sports Talk. Hey, huge thanks to all of our sponsors that make the shows happen each and every day. All of you for hanging out. Thanks to Hacksaw, Dave Minuk, Brandon Rewucki, Ken Wiebe, Michael Remis, of course, Connor for some great stuff this week. Make sure you're following all the socials. Enjoy the Moose game tonight and all the hockey on the weekend. NFL draft. We'll cover it all on Monday's edition of Winnipeg Sports Talk. And don't forget, Sunday morning, 9 a.m., Connor and Liz, WST Sunday Live, hopefully setting up Game 3 between the Moose and the Admirals Sunday afternoon at 2 p.m. That one only happens, though, if the Moose can get a job done, get the job done tonight. Good luck to them. For Michael Remis and Andrew Paterson, have a great weekend. We will see you Monday right here on Winnipeg Sports Talk.
Oh, my God! Oh! Shut it down! Let's go home!
Thanks for tuning in to Winnipeg Sports Talk Daily. Make sure to subscribe on YouTube and your favorite podcast feed at winnipegsportstalk.com.